Hey guys, tonight we're sneaking into a moonlit shipyard where unfinished galleons creak like arthritic giants. Salt crusts your lips as you step onto warped planks, each groan beneath your boots, echoing across the hushed harbor, that lantern in your grip. Its light barely licks the nearest mast, but the shadows behind those barrel stacks, they're definitely licking theirs. Let's get real. You probably won't survive this. Spanish shipyards in the 1500s weren't exactly OSHA compliant. Workers sealed hulls with a cocktail of tar and horsehair. Imagine the Yelp reviews. But forget OSHA. The real danger here hums in the air, a low thrum between the ribs, like the tide itself's, whispering a secret your lungs can't quite hold. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop a comment with your location and local time. Let's see who's braving this fog from Tokyo or Toledo. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The lantern's beam skitters over coiled ropes, fat as pythons, and tools crusted with salt rust. Your fingers graze a half-drunk bottle of wine left on a barrel, still warm. Historians still argue whether Spanish carpenters drank more than they built. But that sticky residue on the glass smells like desperation and cheap Malaga wine. You pivot, the hem of your jacket snags on a nail. A draft slithers up your spine as the lantern flickers. 13 out of 16 ships built here sank before ever leaving port. Mainstream history's fun little footnote. The real kicker, rumor says the wood was cursed, timbers salvaged from a temple, the Spanish a hum borrowed from the Tlaxcala. A chuckle escapes you. Cursed lumber. Sure. But then, a scrape of boot leather on wood. Not yours. The sound curls around the nearest hull, playful, taunting. You freeze. The lantern trembles, its light shrinking like a cowering animal. Here's a quirky tidbit for you. Shipwrights hid dried eels in the keels to deter rats. Spoiler, it didn't work. What's that shuffling sound ahead? Probably just a rat king plotting its next coup. Or maybe Eduardo, that one guy who definitely didn't drown in '89, still clocked in for night shifts. Air thickens, damp wool, and oxidized copper. You round a skeletal ship frame. Moonlight bleeds through its ribs, painting stripes on your hands. That's when you see it. A workbench dusted with fresh wood shavings. Chisels laid out neat as surgical tools. And a ledger, pages fanned open like wings. Your thumb brushes an entry. 24 March 1588. María Lagos. Wages unpaid. The ink glistens. Weird. Humidity here could pickle a cucumber. Yet this looks wet. You lean closer. A cold breath gusts across your neck. You spin, lanterns swinging wild. Shadows leap. Something darts behind a pillar. Maria. The name slips out, stupid and hopeful. Wind rifles the ledger pages, entries blurring, dates melting. 1599, 1622, 2023. Wait, a laugh ripples through the yard, high, bright, gone too fast. Your gut clenches. That's not Eduardo. That's the sound of a girl who definitely isn't on the payroll. The lamp's flame gutters. You cup it, palms sweating. 3 quick facts to avoid panic. 1. Castilian oak resists rot. 2. Nordic shipbuilders used reindeer moss for insulation. Creative. 3. You're maybe 10 yards from the exit. Probably. A plank groans overhead. You glance up. A rope swings down empty, looping, beckoning. The noose bend still holds the shape of a throat. Hard pass, you mutter. But your feet move anyway toward the dry-docked hull looming at the pier's end. Barnacles crust its belly like 1,000 tiny eyes. Tap, tap, tap. A rhythmic knock from within. You press a palm to the wood. Vibrations climb your arm, the tap code of a ghostly SOS. Or maybe just termites. Historians still argue whether the Santa Leonor burned or sank. Both, maybe. Stories here breed like rats. Something crunches underfoot. You crouch, brass buttons strewn in the sawdust. One's stamped with a crest, a 3-masted ship upside down. Ominous little detail. Pocketed. Souvenir or curse. Pourquoi no lo's dues. The tapping stops. Silence sucks the air thin. Even the waves hush. Your lantern's flame stretches taut as a harp string, then snaps inward. Darkness swallows the yard. But wait, moonlight pools around a figure 20 paces ahead. Wide-brimmed hat, ragged doublet, holding a lantern identical to yours, except theirs burns black. They lift the light, illuminates nothing. Not their face, not the ground, just a void eating the world. You backpedal, heel catches on a rope coil. You tumble onto your back. The figure cocks its head. A wet, gurgling laugh bubbles from the void beneath its hat. Scrambling up, you sprint past barrels, under gantries, heart hammering a Morse code all its own. The exit gate glows in the distance. Almost there, a hand clamps your shoulder. You whirl, fists up, and stare at a weather-worn sailor. His face crinkled as a tide-washed map. Easy, lad, he rasps. You'll need this. He presses a cold iron key into your palm for when she comes. When who? But he's gone, vanished. Your fingers uncurl. The key's teeth form a tiny gallows. The lantern flares back to life, weak, wheezing. You stand alone at the wharf's edge. Water slaps the pilings below. Waves etch symbols in the foam, maybe Phoenician, maybe gibberish. Either way, your therapist's gonna love this. You pocket the key. Turn toward the gate. Behind you, a girl's voice giggles close enough to tickle your ear. Quedate, it whispers. Stay. Smart choice. No. But the humid air wraps around you, sweet as rot, warm as open arms. Your hand drifts back toward the key. The workshop door groans, its iron hinges flaking rust like diseased skin. You half expect cobwebs, but the air tastes of silt and scorched wood instead. Your boot nudges a brass dividers, still warm, and the floorboards creak a protest older than Cervantes' inkwell. 3 ledgers squat on the workbench. The middle one lies open, as if waiting. You lean closer. Dust motes swirl in the slice of moonlight from the door. 17th century Castilian shipyards loved their paperwork, every nail, every oak beam logged in meticulous triplicate. Historians still argue whether this bureaucracy birthed Spain's naval dominance or strangled it with red tape. The pages crackle like dried seaweed. There, a list of ships: Santa Clara, Nuestra Señora del Desamparo, all marked INCABADO. Unfinished. Your nail traces a column of numbers: 300 tons of Basque oak, 60 pounds of iron nails. Funny how empires rise on receipts for lumber. A thud makes you jerk back. The ledger slams shut. You reopen it, same page. This time, your thumb brushes a smudge a name. María de las Marias Perdidas. Maria of the lost tides. The ink quivers. For a heartbeat, it bleeds blue as squid ink. Nonsense. Must be the workshop's gloom. You turn the page. Scraps of poetry cling to the margins. The keel dreams of anchors, alongside doodles of mermaids with soffish snouts. Someone's bored shipwright, maybe. Or something else. Did you know some carpenters hid love letters in hull planking? The Voss's wreck revealed a whole ballad carved near its ballast. The next page sears your fingertips. You hiss. Heat radiates from a sketched ship, a carrack with tattered sails. Its name loops in cursive, Maria. Lightning forks across the parchment. Not ink, actual lightning, tiny and furious. It etches a route from Cádiz to somewhere the map bleeds into feathers. A drop hits the page. Not yours. You touch the ceiling. Dank moisture purls between warped beams. When you look back, the Maria's hull has sprouted barnacles. They creep toward your wrist. You slam the book. Too late. Your thumbnail's black where it touched her name. It throbs a heartbeat out of sync with your own. The ledger purrs like a contented cat. Oh, lovely, possessive stationery. You pocket the smallest ledger, it barely fits, and instantly regret it. Cold seeps through your jacket. Pages squirm against your ribs. Somewhere distant, a woman laughs, or maybe sobs. The room darkens. Even the moonlight retreats. On the workbench, 2 words gleam in the remaining light, scratched into wood by an unseen hand. Ayudala, help her. Your thumb pulses darker. The ledger's weight doubles. Maria's storm isn't done with you, not yet. The ledger's cold gnaws through your jacket, sharp as a shipwright's adze. That phantom laughter still rings in your molars. You scan the room. Nothing, just shadows clotting between half-carved masts, and a new smell. Pine resin, sour sweat, something sweet beneath rotten figs, maybe. Tap, you freeze. Tap, tap, tap. It's exact 3 strikes, then silence. The rhythm of a chisel shaping wood. But every time you turn toward the sound, nothing. Tools hang motionless. Except are those wood shavings drifting down from the rafters. They spiral pale and paper-thin, dusting your shoulders like snow. A shape catches your eye. The figurehead. She's half finished, torso carved in flowing robes, face a blank oval. Historians love bickering about these prow sculptures. Were they navigational charms? Ego monuments. The Mary Celeste's figurehead reportedly kept pointing northeast for years after the ship vanished. Maybe they know something we don't. You step closer. The carving's grain feels wrong, not oak, not teak. Faint ridges spiral under your fingertips. Whalebone. Illegal since, well, ethics aside, who carves a figurehead from whalebone? Tap, tap, tap. It's behind you now. You spin, just a dusty anvil, but a new wood curl lands in your palm. Still warm. The shavings form a trail toward a workbench where a chisel lies balanced on its edge. Handle up. Waiting. You've seen this before. Shipbuilders left tools as offerings to Saint Erasmus, but this blade's pitted. Rust streaks the steel like dried blood. A draft whispers past, sudden icy. The chisel rolls off the bench. You catch it midair. Bad move. The handle sears your palm, branding tool hot. You gasp. It clatters to the floor. Then the first clear voice. Rasping, splintered. Humans always grabbing what isn't theirs. The figurehead's face changes. Still eyeless, but her mouth sags open, a black hollow. Sawdust trickles from her lips. They took my bones, hisses the voice. No voices. Dozens layered, men, women, a child's warble beneath. Ground them into glue. Stole my song. Your singed palm throbs. The whalebone figurehead groans, leans forward, creaks. Historians still argue whether old ships truly whispered or if it's just caulk expanding. Let them debate. You're busy backing toward the door. Wood shavings swirl faster, a blizzard now. One slices your cheek. They smell metallic. Blood, yours. The chisel levitates. It stabs the air, tap, 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 carving nothing. Yet with each strike, the figurehead becomes clearer. A nose emerges. Then the curve of a jaw. Yours. Almost there, croons the chorus. The chisel moves faster. Splinters fly. You stumble, wait. Since when is the floor tilting like a deck in a squall? And that's your second mistake. Glancing down. The floorboards part. Below, not earth, but water. Dark. Swirling with shapes. A mast tilts up from the depths. Rigging tangled with bone-white coral. The Maria. The chisel stops. Silence. You look up. The figurehead has your face now down to the scar on your chin from that ill-advised kayak incident. Her empty sockets weep resin. Finish me, she begs. Tools rattle in their racks, saws, mallets, and auger. All quivering, eager, the whalebone woman tilts forward inches from your nose. Or become me. You reach for the mallet. Not your hand, not your choice. Something pulls. St. Elmo's fire. Stockholm syndrome. Doesn't matter. The mallet slams into the chisel. Chip, whalebone screams. Chip, your left eye goes blind. Chip, the figurehead's new eye green as your own blinks. Better, sighs the voices. Somewhere, a ship's bell tolls. The workshop doors burst open, wind howls in, scattering the shavings. The figurehead sags, wooden once more. but her new eye follows you as you run. The ledger in your pocket gurgles. Maria's ink storm isn't finished. Neither are you. Not yet. Your singed hand presses against the hull. The wood hums. Not a metaphor. Actual vibrations buzz up your arm like a wasp's nest. You've heard Spanish shipwrights used to sing to timber, certain pitches, found weak grain, F sharp minor for oak, they say. Funny how the wood remembers long after the singer's rot. Barnacles crunch under your cheek as you lean closer. The groan starts low, crow's nest to keel. Not ropes, not wind, a sound like hinges on a coffin hauling itself open. You taste iron, your own blood. No, the air's laced with it, rusted anchor grit. 3 planks down, you spot the carving. Faint, deliberate. A rope coiled into the numeral 8, or an hourglass. Or if you squint, the symbol for infinity, if infinity had termites. Historians still argue whether shipbuilders encoded curses or cargo logs in these marks. Both, probably. Sailors were multitaskers. The hull thrums again, this time words, slurred, drunk on centuries. Too much since stored here. Each syllable clicks like pebbles in a tin cup. Every nail a tooth, every beam a rib. You straighten up, bad idea. The deck tilts, not metaphorically. The whole damn shipyard lists starboard. Tools clatter. A ball of caulk rolls past your boot. You're pretty sure that's not OSHA-approved. A beam overhead creaks too loud. Something inside it knocks back. Knock, knock. Who's there? Not a joke. You're not laughing. The timber splits, a hairline crack. Out oozes sap. No, too dark, too thick. It hits the ground with a plop and writhes. Eels, 3 of them, made of tar. They curl toward your ankles. You sidestep barely. One brushes your boot. The leather sizzles. Great, sentient eels. Because haunted shipyards needed more hazards. The voice rumbles again below you now. They steamed the ribs, bent them round fire, broke their backs for speed. You remember reading about this. 16th century galleons forced into unnatural curves for warfare. The ships hated it. Hulls creaked for decades. Men blamed ghosts. Turns out it was just structural resentment. A nearby plank buckles. Up drifts a smell. Molasses and mildew. The Maria's manifest lists 80 barrels of treacle lost in a squall. Coincidence? Unlikely. This place hoards secrets like a miser. Your boot sinks into the floorboards, suddenly spongy. You yank it free with a wet slurp. The hole left behind breathes. In, out, a lung made of rot. Listen. The command isn't auditory. It vibrates your molars. You press your ear to the beam again, no choice. The groan sharpens into a scream. Men shouting, sails ripping. A child sobbing, no, a goat. Record scratch. Wait, goat. Fact, livestock ships crossing the Atlantic in the 1700s crammed animals below decks. Their panic soaked into the wood. You're basically hugging a PTSD-riddled plank. Congrats. The tar eels twist into a spiral. They form a sigil, a vortex. A really aggressive cinnamon roll. The beam above splits wider. Out pours a waterfall of buttons. Bone buttons. Porcelain buttons. One's a Confederate officer's wrong era, but the shipyard's never been strict with timelines. The voice softens, a captain's weary drawl. Every ship carries its birthplace. You carry yours. Your ribs ache. Are they warping, mimicking the beam's tortured curve? You stumble toward moonlight, anything to escape the hull's confession booth. But the yard's changed. Ships loom taller. Their prows dip like nodding judges. One has your face on its figurehead. The eye you carved stares. Judging, always judging. A barrel topples, rolls toward you, stops. The lid creaks open. Inside, a diorama. Tiny bone sailors lashing a mast made of hair. Their chants rise in pitch. You lean in mistake number 6. 7. The lid slams. Needles of splinters shoot from the edges. You reel back. The barrel shrinks, crunching inward until it's a knot the size of a fist. It hits the ground, rolls away. Overhead, stars blur. Not stars' nails, floating, aligning. Orion's belt becomes a hammerhead shark. The Big Dipper's an actual dipper. It drips something black. You're too tired to dodge. The tar hits your shoulder. Cold, alive. It slithers under your collar. Stay, purrs the shipyard. Your legs buckle. Not metaphorically. The floor's hungry, hands wooden, rooted claw up your calves. It's a persuasive argument. Then, a memory that's not yours flashes, damp and green. A woman in a patched skirt humming as she packs a sailor's chest. She tucks a sprig of rosemary under the lid. For remembrance, for forgiveness. You smell it now, that rosemary. Or is it the beam beneath you sweating pine resin? The hands retreat, just enough. You crawl, elbows scraping salt, splinters stitching constellations into your forearms. The exit's ahead, a warped door. Its hinges weep. The voice howls. Timber snaps. But you're already tumbling through into blinding fog. Your lungs burn, your pockets sag with stolen things. A button, a splinter shaped like Spain. The taste of treacle and regret. Behind you, the shipyard exhales. The warped door slams behind you, no going back now. Fog presses damp palms over your eyes, until you're blind as a barnacled hull. You swat at it. Futile. The air tastes like party streamers left in a tomb, faint latex tang, older rot. Your foot finds stairs. Stone, not wood. Each step groans liar, liar, liar under your weight. At the 8th step, the fog lifts. You're in a round room, walls papered with maps. Not just any maps. The kind drunk cartographers doodle during existential crises. A chart slithers off the wall. Unfurls midair with a crackle that shocks your fingertips. Vellum, baby. The luxurious stuff goat farmers never got credit for. Coastlines squirm like eels in salt. Portugal melts into a landmass, labeled here be spice, or maybe eels. Classic optimism. North dangles where south should be. The compass rose spins like a stripper, avoiding eye contact. You smirk, comparing ancient navigation tools to modern GPS feels, both sacrilegious and accurate. The map hisses. Ink bleeds upward, defying gravity to form new mountains. Historians still argue whether Renaissance mapmakers hid trap streets like modern atlas printers. Whatever this is, it's adamant you shouldn't reach wherever you're headed. A dotted line appears crimson, pulsing. It arrows toward a cluster of islands named Las Encillas de la Muerte. Death's gums, cheerful. Your nail traces the route. The paper splits. Black ooze leaks out. It sings two notes, just inharmonic enough to ache your fillings. Fact: medieval sailors followed portolan charts laced with rum lines, straight paths between ports. None warned about sentient maps that bruise your retinas. Missed opportunity. The chart snaps shut, whacking your nose. When you blink, the room's rearranged. Desks now. 16th century clutter, spilled inkwells, quills chewed to nubs. A globe rolls past, Antarctica bulging like a botched boob job. You nudge it. It giggles. Top drawer of the nearest desk sticks. You yank. It vomits sextants. One clamps onto your wrist, cold as a widow's kiss. Its arrow points down, through the floorboards, through the earth's crust, to something that hums. The map reappears, plastered to the ceiling. Towns have migrated. Bruges now perches atop what was Tunisia. Clever girl, you recall a quirk from your museum docent days. Some pre-Columbian maps depicted rivers as veins, mountains as bone. This one's got a heartbeat. A throb behind your sternum matches its rhythm. Coincidence. This shipyard eats coincidences for brunch. A compass floats by, lid open, needle missing. You peer inside. Tiny storm swirls there. Lightning licks the glass. Your reflection ages 10 years in the warped metal. You snap it shut. The map detaches. Wraps around your forearm like a forlorn squid. Ink seeps into your sleeve. Symbols tattoo your skin, anchors, shipwrecks, an angry seagull. The chart was lonely. Now you're its canvas. Cool. You've always wanted sentient body art. The floor tilts again. You catch yourself on a bookshelf. Leather spines bite your palm. They whisper titles, nautical insults of the Ottoman Navy, how to sell moldy biscuits as delicacies, life hacks, pirate edition. A drawer labeled bribes, prayers, rattles. Inside, teeth, human, shark, politician. Their molars all gold-capped, one winks. You pocket it. Mistake number 12. The drawer slams, snipping a lock of your hair. Warmth blooms on your inked arm. The map's red dotted line reignites. It arrows toward a door you swear wasn't there before. Weathered oak, knob crusted with coral. You twist it. Salt water trickles over your shoes. You'll need this, purrs the map. A rolled parchment smacks your chest. Unfurls to reveal your childhood street. The bakery where you stole fist-sized muffins. Mr. Pfaff's overgrown hydrangeas. But the sky's wrong. Stars form a grinning skull. Your house number bleeds from 28 to 666. The map cackles. Paper cuts your thumb, blood beads, it sizzles against the vellum. Fact, the Vinland map, if real, proved Vikings reached America first. If fake, it's the prank that cost Yale $14 million. This one's definitely fake, and free, and sentient. Enjoy. The door creaks wider. Salt gusts slap your cheeks. The map squeezes your arm, possessive. You hesitate. The salt water soaks your socks, freezing, then scalding, then neither. Coral crumbles underfoot. You're standing on the galleon's deck. Or is it? Boards creak with the exact pitch of your childhood swing set. Cannons line the rails, but their barrels bloom roses, petals sharp as shrapnel. One fires, a chrysanthemum cannonball arcs into indigo waves. It floats, mocking physics. The sails snap taut above. Not canvas, starlight stitched with rigging. Constellations shift to form a grinning hare, then a noose. You trained for Amsterdam's escape rooms, not this. A mast tilts. You grab a rope. It purrs. Of course the rigging's alive. Fact, Spanish treasure galleons hauled silver from Mexico to Manila for 3 centuries. None ever listed sentient flora artillery in their manifests. Oversight. Men laugh below deck deep, wet guffaws. You descend. Hammocks sway empty. A banquet table glistens. Roast peacocks ooze bioluminescent gravy. Grapes explode into fireflies when touched. Famished, you reach for bread. It morphs into a conch shell screaming sea shanties. Don't eat the waltzes, slurs a voice. A parrot perches on a wine barrel, except it's taxidermied, eyes glassy. Its beak moves anyway. Learned that hic after Rotterdam. Quartermaster, drunken ghost, red flag either way. The walls breathe, knots in the wood stare. One blinks, you look away. On the bulkhead, a carving glows. San Martin, 1588. Historians still argue whether the real San Martin sank off Ireland or fled to Patagonia with a hold full of nuns. This one's hull sprouts willow branches. Roots snake through gun ports. A bell tolls 13 times. The deck tilts. You slide into the captain's cabin. His logbook lies open. Entries blur except one. June 7. Wind sings my mother's lullabies. Crew muttering. Cook tried shaving with the astrolabe, it bit him. The parrot materializes on your shoulder. Stuffed claws dig in. They're coming, it rasps. 3 leagues, 4, 70, doesn't matter. Waves slam the hull. Through the porthole, things breach, not whales. Stone heads, Easter Island meets a fish tank. Their mouths gape. Water cascades into the void. You lean closer. It's not water, it's voices. Thousands, twisted into liquid. They chant in Ligurian, Phoenician, cable news English. Your mother's recipe for lentil soup loops twice. The nearest head turns. Its pupil reflects you aged 60 years, gray-haired, hollow-cheeked, smiling like you've won. Quirky tidbit. Sailors once believed figureheads could blind sea monsters by glaring. This ship's maidenhead's missing her eyes. Wonder why. The parrot pecks your ear. mermaid off the bow. 2 pesos a peek. You grab a spyglass. The lens shows your apartment back home. Toilets overflowing. Neighbors' cats on the counter. You left the stove on. Classic. A shadow drapes over the ship. The starlight sails darken. You look up. A upside-down caravel mirrors your galleon, masts kissing. Its crew waves. Their mouths move in reverse. One holds a sign. It's Warse on tis Cid. The parrot vomits periwinkles. They skitter into a ballad about codfish taxation. You're done. Time to leave. Roses crunch underfoot as you sprint topside. The lifeboats are shoes. Clogs, sabatons, stilettos fused into rafts. You choose the sneaker. It smells like 2017. The map hisses on your arm, ink spreading into a new route. Las Encillas de la Muerte glows. Fangs rise from the waves ahead. Foam sizzles where it touches the hull. Cannons fire again. This time pianos. Baby grands plunk into the water, playing Debussy as they sink. The parrot croaks a falsetto harmony. Fact. Ship's surgeons doubled as barbers. Hence the striped poles. No one knows who's cutting hair here. Pray it's not the astrolabe. The map burns. Your skin blisters. It's redrawing itself, overwriting death's gums with a single word. Home. The sneaker boat rocks. Starboard stiletto snaps. You're sinking. A hand breaks the surface, wooden, barnacled. The galleon's missing figurehead. She grips the rail, her eyeless face tilted toward you. The parrot shrieks. She collects tax receipts. Jump, you leap. Waves swallow the sneaker. When you surface, the galleon's gone. Moonlight paints a path to shore. The map's now a tattoo of your left leg on fire. Something brushes your ankle. You kick. A rose petal floats up, then a piano key middle C swim or tread water. Either way, your socks are ruined. The shore's gravel grates your raw palms, each stone a broken tile from some celestial bathroom. Your socks squelch. Squid ink, motor oil, doesn't matter. They're unsalvageable. Toss them into the surf. Waves spit them back. Fair enough. A warehouse looms ahead, 8 doors stacked like illogical Tetris blocks. Each warped, each rusted, each humming Morse code through their keyholes. Your pocket jingles. 8 iron keys materialize, cold, pitted, smelling of blood oranges. Key 1 fits door 3. Or does it? The lock devours the key halfway. You yank it free. Teeth marks gleam on the metal. Fact. 16th century Spanish locks often required 2 keys held by different officials, a clerk and a priest, usually security or theater. You're guessing theater. Door 5's knob wriggles like a beetle larva. Key 4 slips in. A click. The door swings inward into a brick wall. Classic prank. You kick it. The wall giggles. Behind door 2, a vending machine. Coke cans labeled holy water. Pepsi, unholy water. You insert a doubloon. It spits out a rubber squid. Sucker, hisses the machine. Quirky tidbit. Shipwrights once wedged whalebone into door frames to confuse malicious spirits. This one's oozing blubber. Touch it. No, it winks. Key 7 screams when inserted into door 6. High C sharp. The sound shatters a porthole overhead. Moonlight slices your shadow in half. One half follows. The other lingers, rearranging gravel into a passable sketch of your face. Flattering. Behind door 8, a hallway lined with more doors. Progress. The key ring grows heavier. A name's etched into key 3, Teresa de las Campanas. Historians still argue whether she was a locksmith's daughter or a nun who smuggled keys in communion wafers. Both could be true. Doors whisper as you pass. One offers the scent of bergamot and gunpowder. Another vibrates with a bass line from 1997. You press your ear to a third, breathing inside. Steady, familiar, your own. Key 5 opens a broom closet. A mop slurps your ankle. You slam the door. The mop handle thumps. Loser's weepers, it gargles. A door framed in ship ropes parts without a key. Inside a tavern. Ghosts play dice with teeth. A raccoon in a waistcoat deals blackjack. You sit. He slides you a card, the Queen of Swords. Her eyes match yours. Fold or bet, he rasps. You bet a key, he laughs. Currency's memories here. The room leans in. You push away, knocking over a tankard. It spills moonlight. The raccoon hisses. Keys clank as you flee. The final door weeps sap. Key 8 glows. Insert. Turn. The lock crumbles. Inside a ship's hold. 8 chests. 8 locks. Your remaining keys tremble. First chest. A doll with your face, needle teeth dripping molasses. Second, a wasp's nest crown. Third, your first kiss, pickled in brine. Fourth, a live grenade. Fifth, the sound of your parents arguing. Sixth, a ticket stub to a play that never existed. Seventh, a mirror reflecting nothing. Eighth, a bell. You ring it. The warehouse inhales. Doors slam. Your keys disintegrate. Rust flakes pooling into a puddle that spells meet me in Cádiz. A chest clicks open. The doll crawls out. Her porcelain fingers brush your blistered map tattoo. Almost home, she lisps. Almost. Your remaining shadow tugs you backward away from the chests, toward the shore. Night air slaps your face. The warehouse shrinks. Keys rattle inside its walls. One voice rises above the din, a bartender's ghost, maybe calling last orders. The tide's out. Your socks wave from a rock bleached white, surrendered. You bow. They nod, mutual respect between ruined things. Something pricks your calf. The Queen of Swords card protrudes from your pocket. She winks. Her sword points west. The doll hums a jingle from the vending machine. Pepsi or Coke. Unholy or holy. Choices, choices. You pocket the card. The moon bleeds tangerine light. Your shadow reunites with a sigh. Dawns a rumor here half heard, never believed. The Queen of Swords, hilt digs into your thigh. As you kneel, salt water warping the desk's wood into something alive. Drawers gape like ribcages. Inside, letters, hundreds. each envelope sealed with tar instead of wax. Touch one, it pulses. A paper cut blooms. Your blood swirls into the beloved scrawled on the front. 16th century sailors couldn't just text thinkin' of you mid-voyage. They carved words into lead sheets, sometimes tossed them overboard hoping currents played postal worker. Romantic, sure, effective. This desk's the answer. The first letter starts strong. My pearl, I've forgotten your face. Ink bleeds as you read, rewriting itself. Now it says my pearl, I've forged 10 faces. The thud-thud above isn't your heartbeat. Timbers creak. Someone's pacing the phantom deck. Quirky fact. Sailors believed sewing sweetgrass into love letters kept them safe from jealous sea witches. These envelopes, stuffed with dried jellyfish tentacles. You sniff one. It hums Despacito. A bundle tied with rigging twine catches your eye. It's your handwriting. Dear redacted, it begins. Regret tastes saltier than anticipated. Did you draft this? The no in your throat feels borrowed. Historians still argue whether Admiral Mendez's famous I am the storm love note was a breakup letter or a surrender treaty. This one's clearer. Beloved, masts splinter faster than vows. The ink squirms. Beloved, I am the splinter. A draft slithers past, letters flutter like panicked doves. You catch a page midair. I carved our initials into every port. Forgive me, the words rearrange. I carved every port into our initials. A glob of ink plops onto your boot. Barnacles sprout instantly. One envelope's thicker. Inside, a lock of hair, 2 teeth, a beetle carapace. The letters just a date, March 14th, 1592. The day Spain expelled the last Moors from Granada. Coincidence? The desk slams your shin. Guess not. You pocket a letter marked to the tide. It rasps through your coat. Unsend me, unsend me. The desk drawer wheezes. A fountain pen oozes onto your hand, writes stay across your knuckles. Neon pink. Persistent. Through a porthole, moonlight slicks the waves. Shadows twist into sailcloth shape, armor-clad, hollow where the heart should be. It points at the unsent stack. Burn them, it mouths, or become them. The Queen of Swords vibrates. You draw her, slice a letter midair. It screams. Confetti rains. Each scrap bears a different closing. Yours until the rigging snaps, forever. If eels permit, love. If that's the wound you want, beneath the desk, a false bottom. Inside, a child's drawing. Stick figure ship. Stick figure you. A speech bubble. Don't read the next one. You, of course, read it. Beloved, the word hooks your ribs. I chose the sea because it can't choose back. You deserved better than a coward. Static floods your ears. Not static, hissing. The letters are boiling in their envelopes. You stumble deckward. Salt crusts your lips. The desk implodes behind you, sucking quills, parchment, promises into a vortex. One letter escapes. It plants itself in your palm. Blank, always was, maybe. The barnacles on your boot whisper, say something. Moonlight dies. The The Queen of Swords dims. Somewhere, a wax seal pops, the sound of a heart winking out. Your shadow peels away again, arm in arm with the sailcloth spectre. Romance blooms. You let them go. Dawn's a liar here, always almost breaking. You fold the blank letter into a crane. Let it soar. Let it drown. Let it. The tide licks your boots, midnight here, and it brought paperwork. The dockmaster's ghost materializes knee-deep in shadow. Seaweed coats his ledger. His quill's a fishbone. His inkwell, a mussel shell brimming with bioluminescent goo. 37 ships owed, he croaks. Pick one debt. You remember Alfonso X's shipwrights soaking hemp in pitch for oakum, sealing hulls against the Med's wrath. Centuries later, you're bartering memories instead of caulk. Classic career pivot, his ledger flips open. Pages glow like jellyfish. A fringe theory claims sailors auctioned childhood nicknames to siren black markets, insurance against drowning. You try recalling your own. The syllables slip, hot coins through cold fingers. The ghost's ledger entry glimmers, anchorage fee, one ephemera. He offers a flask carved from a narwhal tusk. Inside, dark rum and darker promises. You sip, flavors bloom, grandmother's rosemary bread, a terrier's wagging tail, the exact green of your first bike. Down payment, he nods. Waves lap louder. Historians still argue whether Cádiz's memory brokers were real or just drunk poets. The ghost slams the ledger. Barnacles sprout on your sleeves. Choose, he hisses. The tide won't. His breath smells of rotted ship biscuits and regret. Your left pinky tingles, the one you broke scaling Valencia's clock tower at 11. The memory unravels like yarn. The ghost's quill stabs the page. Ink bleeds upward. Collateral accepted. Warmth drains from your fingertip. He grins teeth like barnacle-encrusted piano keys. Safe passage requires ballast, he croons. Too many memories make you buoyant. A wave hisses your childhood nickname. You flinch. He licks his lips. Ah, there she is. 16th century notaries used to stamp contracts with octopus ink, legally binding, allegedly waterproof. This pact's written in something older. The ghost extends a hand. Kelp clings to his wrist bones. Final consent, he purrs. The rum's aftertaste turns metallic. You shake. Sea spray stings. The name fragments surface Luna, Leela. Before dissolving into static, he inhales sharply. Your knees buckle. Salt crusts your tongue. The world tilts. His ledger flashes. Transaction complete. Your shadow falters, a patchwork of missing moments. The ghost exhales a pearl. It rolls into the surf, trailing foam. You'll thank me, he murmurs. Memories a leaky hull. Dawn's first lyre glint appears. The ghost dissolves, taking your 7th birthday candles smoke with him. Waves retreat. Your boots sink deeper. Something's missing. Something small. Unimportant, probably. The tide's whispering a nickname you don't recognize. You spit sand. The dock creaks a lullaby. In your pocket, a scrap of kelp parchment. Next full moon, interest due. A barnacle scuttles across the text, redacting half the threat. You pocket it. Overhead, gulls laugh in Morse code. Stupid human. Stupid bargain. You lob a shell. They scatter. The hole where your nickname lived throbs, phantom limb of the soul. You walk. The rum's warmth fades. A child's laugh echoes from a moored skiff. Yours. Impossible to confirm. The shipyard's heartbeat syncs with your pulse now. 2 drums, 1 dirge. The keel looms, a blackened spine curving into shadow. Brine seeps through its cracks. You press closer. A hum vibrates the wood low, off-key, the sound of a music box left in the rain. Splinters prickle your palms. Historians still argue whether Castilian figureheads warded off evil or just gave sailors something pretty to stare at. This one's different. Its tail coils where legs should be, scales etched by a blade gone mad. 16th century shipwrights, prized Cantabrian oak, trees felled under blood moons for density. You run a hand along the grain. It pulses, faint, steady, a heartbeat drumming late, late, late. The humming sharpens. Your teeth ache. That's new. A fringe text from Seville's archives claims workers mixed ground sea turtle bones into hull caulk, supposedly for flexibility. You taste iron. Blood droplets dot the keel. Each splinter's tip glistens red. The wood drinks greedily. The lullaby's words crystallize, seas forget, timbers rot. No rest in the kelp king's bed. Your throat moves without consent. Splinters burrow deeper. Your voice tangles with hers. It's less a duet than a mugging. Salt stings fresh wounds. Remember those haunted ukuleles from Section 5. This is worse, way worse. The figurehead's mouth doesn't move. The sound's coming from its chest, a fissure shaped like a keyhole. You lean in. Bad idea. The hum becomes a screech. Your vision blurs. Suddenly, you're 9 years old, stealing apricots from Sister Margarita's orchard. The memory judders, replaced by a maw of barnacle teeth. You recoil. Blood streaks the keel. Shipyard Rule 1. Don't feed the architecture. Too late. The wood groans. Planks twist into something resembling ribs. The figurehead's eyes snap open, pupils like sea glass. Murderer, she accuses. You'd protest, but your tongue's busy bleeding. Medieval sailors believed singing mermaids into contracts voided their curses. You try Despacito. She counters with a high C that cracks a molar. So much for cultural exchange. The keel splits, a gash revealing bioluminescent worms writhing where the mast should be. Their glow sketches a map on the ceiling. Familiar coastlines, Cádiz, Malaga, a route curving up. Your head swims. One worm drops onto your collar. It squirms. You swat. The figurehead laughs, a sound like shattered champagne flutes. They navigate, she sneers. Unlike you, the worm dissolves into brine. The map flickers, your blood's staining the keel. The lullaby resumes softer now. Anchors rust, captains lie. All debt sleeps with the tide. A splinter worms into your thumbnail. You bite back a scream. Wind howls through the shipyard, or maybe it's the mermaid. Hard to tell. Your hands throb in sync with the distant dock bell. 3 chimes. Never a good sign. The figurehead's glare softens. They used my sister's ribs for the rudder, she whispers. Fair trade. You're in no position to judge. Your pinkies still ghost numb from Section 9's little transaction. Her song shifts, a sobbing cadence. The splinters retreat. Blood drips. Relief. Probably an invoice pending. You press a palm to the keyhole fissure. Cold radiates. A memory surfaces. Peeling wax off a candle, the wick still glowing. They never tell you about phantom calluses in those meditation apps. Your hands sting. Shake. The figurehead watches detached, almost bored. Every ship's a cemetery, she yawns. You just memorialize the captains. Dawn's a rumor here. The keel's heartbeat slows. Your blood's gone tacky. The lullaby fades, last notes hanging like fishing line snagged on coral. You exhale. Mist rises. The figurehead's eyes dim. Next time, she murmurs, bring a better voice. You stumble back. The keel's cracks seal. Splinters nest under your skin, tiny compass needles pointing nowhere. Above, gulls mock. Below, the worm's map dies. Your hands pulse. The shipyard sighs. Somewhere, a ghost dockmaster files today's incident under amateur hour. You suck a bleeding thumb. Tastes like copper and bad decisions. A wave slaps the shore. It almost sounds like your lost nickname. Almost. The figurehead's silent now. You wonder if she's sleeping or just waiting. The worms twitch. You walk. Each step grinds salt into fresh cuts. Rule 2. Never accept duets from haunted nautical decor. You make a mental note. It dissolves before reaching long-term storage. Typical. The ropes find you by the dock bell, still ringing from 3 chimes ago. Your hands throb where splinters linger. A coil of rigging unfurls like a sidewinder waking hungry. You sidestep. It mirrors you. Clever little bastard. 16th century Spanish galleons used reels to contrapeso knots, weight-bearing ties that could snap a mast, but hold 8 tons of cargo. This rope's different. No frayed ends. No barnacles. It shimmers faintly, like silk spun from lightning. Your boots scuff backward. The rigging strikes, cold fibers whip around your left wrist. A second loop catches your ankle. Gentle pressure. Testing. Historians still argue whether sailors considered rigging sacred or just really expensive twine. You yank free. Bad move. 3 more ropes descend, purposely slow, like cats herding a mouse. The nearest brushes your cheek. It hums, same pitch as the figurehead's curse. Coincidence? Unlikely. This shipyard recycles its threats. A fringe legend claims rigging once bound a Basque witch to her own mast during the Armada. You're half tempted to ask. The ropes cinch tighter. Your pulse syncs with their rhythm, 3 beats quick, 2 slow. The dock bell tolls again. 4 chimes now. Progress. Or a countdown. You pivot toward the keel, its ribs knife upward into fog. The ropes herd you closer. Splinters whisper underfoot. Late, late, late. Shipwrights often added a widow's loop, one loose knot meant for quick untying if storms hit. You search the coils. No slack. No mercy. Someone skipped that safety feature. Your captured wrist jerks sideways. Shoulder screams. The rigging drags you toward the ship's gaping hull. You dig heels into mud, useless. Plans form and die. Pocket knife. Gone in section 7. Scream. The figurehead already stole your best notes. Medieval caulkers believed rigging absorbed sailors' prayers. These ropes feel disappointed. Friction burns blossom as fibers writhe. A loop brushes your throat. Lightly, a reminder we could. You smell burnt honey, navel pitch mixed with something floral. Remember the alchemist's workshop in section 2. Same stench. The rigging tenses. You're 2 yards from the hull now. Barnacles leer. A sudden tug, your forehead smacks a beam. Stars bloom. Blood trickles. The rigging freezes. For a heartbeat, it almost feels apologetic. Then the dragging resumes. Ottoman shipbuilders dyed rigging red to scare sea demons. You'd kill for that brand of crazy right now. Instead, the ropes glow paler, translucent, like salt-cured muscle. Your knees scrape the keel's threshold. The hull gapes, a cathedral of warped timbers. Inside, shadows sharp enough to carve bone. The rigging hesitates. Are they scared? Doubtful, more likely savoring the moment. You spot something, an iron nail wedged between planks. Last-ditch reach. Fingertips graze rust. The rigging yanks you into darkness. Impact. Breath flees. You're sprawled on curved wood, staring up at ropes crisscrossing like a spider's web. 10, no, 20 coils descend. Gentle loops become nooses. Your wrists lift. Ankles follow. Toulon's 17th century dock ledgers mention stray rigging devouring 3 carpenters. You always assumed metaphor. The ropes cinch firm, but not crushing. Suspended, you sway like a drunk pendulum. One fiber brushes your earlobe. Whispers, better than the keel, yes. You'd argue, but your jaw's wired shut. The ropes vibrate laughing. Assholes. Light filters through the hull's cracks. Dust motes swirl, your blood drips. Each drop hisses where it lands. The rigging tightens. Breath shortens. Vision tunnels. Seawater bubbles up through floorboards, first a trickle, then a flood. Cold licks your calves. The ropes hoist higher. Salt water rises. They'll let you dangle here, drown slow. Your waistcoat pocket tears. Something clinks into the water. Section 9's tide-stained coin. The rigging shudders. Loosens. You crash into the flood, gasping. The coin spins underwater, glinting gold, then green, then black. The ropes recoil. A tactical retreat. You seize the nail from earlier. Stab the nearest coil. It parts silently. No fraying. The severed rope writhes like a beached eel. Others retreat, whipping upward into the web. Dull, pulsing now. Wounded pride. You wade toward moonlight. The water recedes, taking the coin. Your hands shake. The rigging hums a new tune, deeper darker, a baseline for revenge. Shipyard Rule 3. Never mock the knots. You glance back. The severed rope regrows thicker, angrier. Time's up. You sprint. Behind you, wood groans. The web stirs. Hundreds of ropes vibrate. Humming becomes a drone. You're halfway to the mast shadow when it happens. The hull's ribs snap shut like a jaw. Rigging rains down. You dive. Timbers clash overhead. Splinters hail. When silence falls, you're outside back on the moonlit wharf. The ropes writhe in the mud, forming words. Next time, you kick sand over them. Petty, sure, satisfying. The blisters on your wrists vote yes. Dawn remains a cheat. The dock bell rings once, a half-hearted apology. You suck salt from split knuckles. Taste like failure. And maybe paprika. Weird, somewhere in the belly of the beast, rigging reties itself. You walk. The shipyard tolerates it. Barely. A gull squawks. You flip it the bird. The rigging doesn't see. Probably. Your boots squelch toward Section 12's nightmare cuisine. At least the bread won't fight back. Probably. The galley door sways open, no hand pushes it. Copper kettles steam with broth that smells like nostalgia and lies. Your stomach growls. Traitor. 16th century Spanish cooks flavored ship rations with crushed nutmeg to hide weevil infestations. This broth needs no disguises. It shifts color as you watch amber to murky green. A ladle floats by. Help yourself. You dip a finger. Cold, yet bubbles rise. The spoon clatters, rejected. Fine, be that way. A fringe theory claims ghost galleys stored hunger as ballast. Tasting their food pays the toll. Loaves crusted with salt sit on the counter. You break one open. Ash pours out bitter chalky. It coats your teeth. Medieval sailors ate moldy bread for the penicillin. This offers no such mercy. A pot lid rattles. You jump. The flame beneath isn't fire, just wind squeezing through cracks. Clever trick. Historians still argue whether ship biscuits were weapons or nutrition. Both, you decide, spitting gray crumbs. Something giggles. You spin. A shadow kneads dough in the corner, wrists bone white, fingers too many. The rolling pin cracks like a mast in a squall. Season's best, it croons, sliding a plate toward you. The offering, fish bones arranged as a rose's. A petal falls, it becomes an eel head. You back into a brine barrel. Liquid sloshes, your reflection ripples into a stranger's face. 17 teeth. One eye, not yours, you blink. Back to normal. Mostly, rumor says a cook's guild in Cádiz hired regret-riddled ghosts to season meals. Adds depth. The shadow chef whisks faster. Broth sloshes over the rim, but never touches the floor. A cleaver buries itself in the countertop, your pinky width away. Accident purrs the shadow. Sure, just like the accidental garlic in your shoe back in Section 5. You pocket a pewter spoon. Weapon. Souvenir. The handle grows teeth. You drop it. The shadow cackles dry as kindling. 3 hanging sausages writhe. Not sausages. eels. They sing in harmony, a dirge about lemons. Citrus shortages doomed more sailors than scurvy, but try telling them that. Your ash-bread lump sprouts mold. Blue veins pulse. You toss it into the stew. The pot belches smoke. Letters form. RUDE hospitals in Old Sevilla used ship rations as wound packing. Smart, nothing grows on hardened biscuit. You press a crumb to your rope-burned wrist. The burn worsens. Lesson learned. The shadow slams a ledger open. Entries float. 30 barrels hope, 15 casks regret, 1 thimble childhood dreams. Balanced books. Profit, negative. You reach for a hanging onion. It unfolds into a map of your sins. 5th grade lies glow brightest. The shadow nods, approving. A cauldron boils over. The spill becomes a tide of cockroaches. You stand on the counter. They part around your boots. Even vermin respect a good pivot. Moonlight pierces a porthole. The shadow chef stiffens. Its knife clatters. The galley fades, walls peeling like sunburned skin. You're left clutching a moldy napkin. 1 thread of saffron clings to your sleeve. It trembles. A souvenir or a tracker. You flick it into the dark. The galley door slams behind you. Dawn's still a myth. The dock bell tolls 2 stabs of sound. Salt air rinses ash from your tongue. Mostly. That paprika aftertaste lingers. Crewmen claimed it prevented seasickness. Liars. The shadow's ledger pages flutter past. 1 sticks to your boot. Recipe for survival. Step 1. Stop tasting places that don't want you. You kick it free. Behind you, copper pots resume their hollow coral. The eels harmonize off-key. Another laugh escapes yours this time, frayed at the edges. 3 gulls watch from a barrel. You mimic their screech. They mimic back. Improv night at the cursed shipyard. Your best audience yet. Hunger returns sharp as a caulker's needle. The next section looms. Maybe the rats serve dessert. The beam creaks beneath your palm, its grain twisted into words. Carvings crawl under your touch. A name, Lazaro 12. The date, faded. You pick at the wood. Splinters embed, red blooms on your thumb. Spanish ships often took boys as young as 10 to learn the ropes. Lazaro's story isn't in the archives. Knots bulge along the rigging above, fist-sized, trembling. 1 unravels. Rope snakes down, brushing your neck. You swat it. The beam groans. A child's laugh echoes, not from the air, from the fibers. Historians still argue whether nodding curses were sailor tall tailies or real magic. The rope coils tighter. A face presses against its twists, mouth stretched in a hemp scream. You step back. The beam splits open. Sawdust spills like confetti. In 1588, riggers on the San Salvador claimed knots tied during full moons held souls. You count 12 lunar phases carved into the beam. Coincidence. The closest knot hums, a boy's voice trapped in a hymn. Father said I'd be a master rigger. The rope rasps. Splinters jut from its core bone white. You ask how he became this. The knots writhe. A storm swell snapped the mast. I grabbed the lines. They grabbed back. Your boot finds a rusted marlin spike, ancient tool for untying reef knots. You lift it. The hymn stutters. Shipbuilders in Valencia once paid orphans to test rigging strength. Many vanished. They're ghosts. Union negotiators. The spike pricks a knot. Blood beads, salt-smelling. Lazaro's voice sharpens. Don't. Too late. The rope slithers up your arm. Another loops your ankle. Memories flood, not yours. A mother's unfinished embroidery, a promise to return. One knot sprouts thorns. You nick it. The beam shudders. 14th century nuns in Barcelona wove prayer knots for sailors. This feels less holy. The thorns dig deeper. Your blood threads the ropes, crimson rigging. 83 years I've held this ship together. The voice cracks. Cut me loose, it sinks. You eye the hull. Barnacles seal every gap. Would sinking really be worse? A quill drifts down, rusted nib, feather plucked from your hair. The beam's carvings rewrite themselves. Lazaro, 95. Your fingers twitch. Sign here, the knots urge. Make his age true. Madrid's Maritime Museum displays a screaming rope found in a 1620 wreck. You've mocked that placard. Now, apologies pending. The quill hovers. Sign and share his burden, or snap the spike. Lazaro's thorns pierce your wrist. The quill stabs the wood. Your hand moves, signing without consent. Witness your name. The ropes slacken. Laughter bubbles, young, relieved. The beam seals. Blood drips onto a ledger half buried in sawdust. Page heading, Crew Manifest, 1571. Under deceased, Lazaro's name glows. Under current crew, your signature dries. The marlin spike rusts to dust. You pocket the quill. It writhes, another cursed souvenir. At least it matches the garlic-tainted spoon. The ropes retreat, forming a hammock you'll never trust. Moonlight filters through rigging. Your shadow has two heads now. The smaller one kicks. You walk faster. Somewhere, a knot unties itself and reties. Salt crusts your lips. Dawn's still a rumor. The next section whispers. You hope it's got fewer contracts and maybe a bench. Sitting's a luxury here. Salt grinds between your teeth. As you kneel, waves retreat to expose a tide pool fringed with clattering barnacles. One shell yawns open, then another, until a path cuts through. Your reflection glints in the standing water, but the eyes staring back aren't yours. Too wide, too hungry. The crab emerges sideways, clutching a pearl the size of a hazelnut. Its surface ripples. Your face surfaces inside, younger, smiling, a version that still trusted moonlight. The crab's claw snaps, click-clack, offering the orb. Barnacles hiss like tea kettles. You hesitate. 16th century divers near Panama would swallow pearls to smuggle them past tacksmen. This one, probably indigestible. The crab thrusts its prize higher. Break it, its joints creak, or swallow it whole. Medieval bestiaries claimed barnacles, birthed geese, a myth sailors adored. This feels equally absurd. Your damp fingers close around the pearl. Cold seeps into your palm. The tide pool darkens, ink spreading. Reflections twist into scenes. A storm-tossed caravel. A dagger under a pillow. Your hands carving a name into wet timber. Historians still argue whether the Manila galleons carried more silver or secrets. The pearl's visions suggest both. The crab climbs your sleeve, pincers catching threads. Choose, it urges. Your younger self in the pearl presses palms against the curve, mouthing words. No sound, just the memory of a rhyme your grandmother sang. Off-key, half forgotten. You raise the pearl, gauging the rock's edge. The crab freezes. Will breaking this unbreak something else? You ask. It tilts its head, antennae flicking. A wave crashes. The tide pool floods your boots. The pearl warms. Your reflection ages rapidly, wrinkles deepening. Hair graying, then liquefies. A woman's voice slithers from the orb. Heirloom or epitaph. She sounds bored. The crab kicks your thumb. Time's tide won't wait. In 1595, a Spanish viceroy's wife dissolved a pearl in vinegar to win a bet. You wonder if her ghost belches bubbles. The crab pinches your wrist hard. Focus. You pop the pearl into your mouth. It clacks against your molars. The crab applauds with its claws. Your throat seals. The pearl lodges. Pressure builds. You choke, then gasp as salt water floods your lungs. And suddenly, you're breathing it. The tide pool expands into an underwater nave, ribs of sunken ships for arches. Eels coil like vestments. Your pearl floats ahead, cracking open. The girl inside steps out, barefoot on the sand. She's you. She's not. She wears a crown of fishhooks. Follow, she says. Her voice leaves silver trails. You move, legs heavy as anchors. Ship names drift into view on brass plaques. Santa Maria, San Jose, the one that got away. The crab rides your shoulder, docile now. She's the question, it whispers. You're the reply. Your doppelganger stops at a coral pulpit. She holds up a mirror. The glass shows the shipyard, but it's clean. New. Workers hammer a hull. One turns. It's Lazaro, alive and grinning. Stay here, not you offers, or return and fix what's broken. The crab pinches your ear. Pick wisely, Landrot. Spanish shipwrights believed every vessel had a soul mirror in the deep. Shatter one, shatter both. You touch the mirror. Lazaro waves. Your chest aches. The crab sighs. He's really selling it, huh? You snort, an air bubble escaping. Not, you frown. This isn't a joke. Everything's a joke, you say. Especially haunted tide pools. The crab snickers, claws over its mouth. Not, use crown slips. Fish hooks welt her brow. She's fading. The pearl's shell disintegrates in your gut. You seize the mirror. It frosts over. I'd rather bleed on the real timbers, you say, not play king in a coral church. The crab sighs dramatic and snaps the glass. Salt vomit, gasping, knees in the tide pool. The crab's gone. Your shirt's dry, but under your tongue a grain of sand. It tastes like betrayal. Barnacles seal the path. Waves return hungry. Somewhere beneath your ribs, a tiny voice laughs. Your laugh. The tide pool's choice lingers undo a history or drown in it. You spit salt. Same difference, really. A whalebone arch groans ahead. Next crossroads. Next riddle. You pocket the sand. It'll pair nicely with the quill and the cursed spoon. Maybe start a collection. Shadows stretch, your two-headed silhouette yawns. The smaller ones playing hopscotch on barnacle shells. Focus. Pre-dawn wind carries a familiar hum and the smell of burning lavender. The shipyard's still hungry. Your boots squelch toward the next horror. At least it's not paperwork. The whalebone arch groans as you pass beneath, its curve bowed like an old sailor's spine. Ahead, a shipyard ghost wails. Not metaphorically. Actual sheet ghost vibes, flapping sailcloth draped over nothing. It flutters toward the docks, howling through salt-rotted seams. You salute it with the cursed spoon from your pocket. Casually, like this is Tuesday. Moonlight licks the hull of the San Isidro, or what's left of it. Teeth marks pock the bow, not animal, not tool, something in between. Each bite splinters oak into sad confetti. The ship creaks as it chews. Spanish galleons used lignum vitae, wood so dense it sank in water. This timber, cheaper stuff, termite bait. The San Isidro devours its own ribs, quick as a starved hound. You press a palm to its keel. The wood vibrates a purr, a growl. Midnight snack, you ask. The gnawing pauses. A plank snaps. The ship's figurehead, a woman with a half-eaten face, turns her head. Slowly, like she's on a rusted swivel. Her remaining eye rolls toward you. Some shipwrights swore vessels birthed during lunar eclipses developed appetites. You scoffed. Now, the figurehead's jaw unhinges. Yellow splinters spray. She's going for the mast next. Delicious. If you hate the sea so much, you mutter, maybe don't build a boat. The hull shudders. Barnacles rain down. 18th century captains sometimes scuttled ships to dodge creditors. Historians still argue whether pride or piracy doomed most hulks. The San Isidro seems to vote self-cannibalism. You circle the wreck. Each step crunches pulverized timber. The air tastes like sawdust and regret. Behind the mainmast, a name's carved into a surviving beam, Trinidad. The San Isidro's original title. Or a lover's kiss. The figurehead hisses. Guess she's team privacy. A plank shifts underfoot. Your boot plunges through. Wet teeth graze your ankle. You yank free, sock torn, skin unbroken. The ship's hold gurgles. Hungry. Apologetic, doubtful. Real classy. You lob a wood shard into the darkness. Something crunches it. Twice. Strange, no rats here. Not even cockroaches. Just the San Isidro chewing its unlovely cud. You perch on a less mangled barrel. The figurehead watches, judging your life choices. Same, ma'am. Same. Wind carries a melody, 3 fiddles, 1 drunk. The San Isidro stills, listens. Its planks ripple. Memory or music, hard to tell. A shadow passes over the moon. The gnawing resumes. Faster now. Desperate, you spot a glint in the figurehead's hollow eye. A coin. Leaning close, you fish it out. A silver real Charles III's pouty profile worn smooth. The figurehead whimpers. Or maybe that's the wind. 18th century sailors believed swallowing coins warded off sea serpents. You pocket it. Let's test that theory later. The San Isidro's mast groans. Cracks. Timber screams. You dive aside as it collapses, shattering barrels of long-evaporated wine. The figurehead's severed head rolls to your feet. Her lips part. Beware the splinters. Poetic. Dawn bleeds across the harbor. The San Isidro's chewing slows, daylight sedating its hunger. Or shame. You brush sawdust from your sleeves. The coin in your pocket warms. Your stomach growls. Not a metaphor. The ghostly sheet reappears, flapping at the dock's edge. It points a corner toward the next horror, a shed oozing candlelight and the stink of burnt sugar. You glance back. The ship's ribs poke through its hull like broken corsetry. Bon appetit, you tell the wreck. It spits a tooth at you. Fair, crows gather on the remaining yardarm. One drops a mussel shell at your feet. Payment, warning. You toss the coin into the shell. The birds caw approving or annoyed. Hard to say. The San Isidro's final bite echoes as you walk away. A wet, woody sob. You don't look back. Can't. Something in your throat feels suspiciously like a splinter. Coffee would fix this. Or a flaming sambuca. Instead, onward. The shed's door creaks. A 17th century espresso machine hisses inside. You brighten. Maybe the shipyard pities you. The machine growls. Steam blasts your face. Ah, of course. Demon barista. You order a cortado. Why not? The demonic espresso machine belches steam, its boiler rattling like a prisoner's chains. Instead of coffee, it spews lukewarm whiskey into a singed pewter cup. You stare. The machine hisses something obscene in Latin. 5-star service, you mutter. The whiskey ripples. A face materializes, jaundiced eyes, tar-stained teeth, a captain's ghost soused in spectral liquor. He slurs his words like a drunkard reciting poetry. Boo-in the fleet, boo-in the SH shore. Spittle splashes into the whiskey, igniting blue flames. You slide the cup away. Not today, maritime arsonist. Spanish captains torched their own ships sometimes to block enemy harbors during invasions. This one's motives reek pettier. The ghost leans closer. Amber droplets cling to his beard. His breath smells like a distillery's graveyard. Sent my lovely margarita to the briny deep. 15 guns. Silk sails. All to spite he burps. The room trembles. A bottle glints beneath the counter, cracked glass, wax seal intact. You snatch it. The ghost wails. 17th century was often hid in liquor bottles to avoid tampering. This one's parchment unfurls with a sigh. The ink swims, words dissolving, reforming, confessing. Let no man claim my legacy. Foul the cannons. Scatter my gold where even gulls starve dramatic, you note. The ghost snatches the bottle, smashes it. Whiskey pools on the floor, each ripple showing a different ship ablaze. A brigantine burns in Cádiz. A carrack founders off Hispaniola. The San Isidro's half-eaten hull crackles like a Yule log. Historians still argue whether scuttled ships were tactical masterstrokes or tantrums against the crown. The captain's spectral finger stabs the puddle. Lies. They called me coward. Burned my honor first. Your boot nudges a shard of glass. It skitters across the floor, revealing a rusted strongbox under a floorboard. Inside, 2 pistols crusted in coral and a locket shaped like a mermaid. The ghost freezes. Eva, he whispers. His form flickers, briefly human, briefly sorry. Sailors once mixed gunpowder into whiskey to keep it from freezing in Arctic voyages. You pocket a pistol, just in case. The locket's clasp resists. The ghost weeps oily tears. She said a barnacle crunches underfoot. The vision shifts. A woman on a Quito balcony, hurling roses at a departing frigate. The captain, younger and less dead, catches one, crushes it in his fist. Chivalry's dead, you observe. The ghost roars. His rage kicks up a windstorm of ash and old receipts. A scrap slaps your cheek. Paid in full for 3 barrels of spoiled beef. Classy. The strongbox creaks. Inside, beneath moth-eaten doubloons, lies a child's shoe. Tiny, leather-worn soft. The ghost falls silent, turns away. 18th century sailors sometimes carried family trinkets, not saints' medallions. You cough awkward. Keep it, you offer, tossing the shoe back. His hand phases through it. The locket snaps open a curl of hair, once chestnut, now seaweed green. Outside, the San Isidro's mast finally caves. Wood shrieks. The captain flinches. I told them the keel was flawed. He drifts toward the window. Dawn pinks the horizon. His edges blur. You gesture to the still gurgling espresso machine. Last call. The ghost snorts, fades. The whiskey flames die, leaving a scorch mark shaped like a schooner. From the harbor, a wet, hollow crunch. The San Isidro's eaten through its last intact rib. Waves lap its remains. The demon machine vomits a cork. You pocket that too. The captain's final command echoes as you exit. Burn it all. But his voice cracks, pleads. You glance at the strongbox, at the locket, at the pistols already rusting in your coat. Your fingers brush the charred floorboards. They're softer than expected, rotted through. The shed's walls sag. This whole structure could collapse with a stiff breeze. You snap your fingers. The espresso machine hacks up a single, steaming bean. Keep the change, you tell the darkness. Outside, the ghostly sheet awaits, flapping near a mound of anchor chains. It points northeast, toward the scent of burning sugar and something older. The San Isidro's figurehead watches from the shallows, her jaws gone now. She offers a skeletal wave. The coin in your pocket throbs. You flip it. Charles' eyes, eroded face stares up. Call it, you tell the wind. A seagull dives, snatches the coin. Your stomach growls again. The shed creaks, then implodes in a cloud of sawdust and regret. You step over a molten puddle of bottle glass. It reflects your face for a moment, then the captain's. He mouths 3 words. Could be burn the shore. Could be forgive me. The path ahead slopes upward. Dunes hum with buried ship bones. Somewhere a gooseneck lantern flickers alive or ghostly, hard to tell. You adjust your collar. The rising sun feels like a waiter's pitying stare. Trudging toward the dunes, you whisper the only prayer you know. Let there be coffee. The wind laughs. It's gonna be one of those centuries. You lift a rusted lantern from the dunes, its glass fogged with seabird breath. The flame inside recoils, huddling at the base like a frightened animal. Shadows leap waist high, edges sharp enough to slice moonlight. Not a team player, huh? No response, just the hiss of damp wick. Lanterns like this once hung on every Spanish galleon, their light measured in candles, using actual whale fat. This one's different. The flame inches upward reluctantly, painting your knuckles bone white. A shadow tendril brushes your elbow cold as a selkie's farewell. You jerk back. The flame dives again. Rude, 18th century mariners swore certain lanterns attracted ghost ships. Experts still debate whether faulty wicks caused the Santa Isabel disappearance. Yours flickers Morse code. Slash. Clever little arsonist. The dunes shift. Something buried coughs sand. You pivot. The lantern's light streaks the ground like hot wax, revealing half-charred timbers. Ship ribs. A child's copper rattle. Your boot nudges it. The shadows inhale sharply. No snacks, you warn. Too late, the rattle vanishes into the dark. A grinding sound follows. Chewing. The lantern flame pulses guiltily. Traitor. Sailors once rubbed lantern glass with garlic to repel witches. Should have tried ghostly dust bunnies. You wipe the pain with your sleeve. The flame flares, indignant, then carves a path through the dunes. Shadows dog your steps, sniffing at pockets. One tugs your coat. You whirl. It holds out the rattle now gnawed, tarnished, and bows. Keep it. The shadow wilts. Dramatic little bastards, aren't they? The flame leads you to a ship's carcass, keel upturned, hull gnawed by tides. Its nameplate reads Las de la Luna. Fitting. Inside the belly, a nest of rusted hourglasses, all sand stalled mid-fall. Historians still argue whether stalled timepieces caused mutinies or just bad hangovers. You tap one. The sand stirs, a lazy serpent then freezes. A shadow slithers up the mast, coalescing into a figure with too many elbows. It points north. The lantern's flame gutters, begins to hum. The tune, drunken sailor, naturally. You hum back. The shadows harmonize, a dissonant, wet church bell choir. The flame swells gold, then sapphire, then the color of a drowned bruise. Your shadow detaches, joins the dance. It's doing the Macarena. You don't mention this. A century ago, a lighthouse keeper near Cádiz claimed lantern flames whispered gossip about passing ships. They fired him. The Luz de la Luna's flame leans close now, its heatless breath shaping words against the glass. Beware the keeper who lights too many wicks. Cryptic, you say. Anybody got a decoder ring? The shadows shrug. One offers a dried seahorse. You decline politely. Moonlight bleeds through the hull's cracks. Your shadow peels away again. It's petting a phantom cat now. The flame dims, exhausted by its own theatrics. You set the lantern on a barrel. It clinks. A hidden compartment springs open. Inside, tobacco, a bone flute, and a love letter addressed to the sea. Dearest abyss, you can have my anchor, my compass, my last good sock. But return my left shoe. It's the pair that clicks, the signatures nibbled off by silverfish. The lantern shudders, its glass frosts over. The flame contorts, a tiny fist shook at the stars. Shadows erupt, smothering the shipwreck in false night. You cough, overreact much. The flame sputters. Apology? Probably not. Dawn's first blade slices the horizon. The lantern's light retreats, a whipped dog, into its metal cage. Shadows disperse, but not before one slips a cold hand into yours. Squeezes. Let's go. You pocket the bone flute. It's warm. Wrong. The Luz de la Luna groans as you leave. Sand reclaims its bones. Above, gulls mock your retreat. The lantern swings heavy at your side. It'll relight tonight. They always do. The bone flute grows warmer, now pulsing like a second heartbeat. You drop it. Shadows scuttle over, sniffing the carved surface. One licks the mouthpiece. Its silhouette shudders, then belches a cloud of moth wings. Charming, you mutter. 18th century shipbuilders swore by harmonic ratios. Golden means hidden in keel curves. This flute's math feels different, sharper. Your boot scrapes a hatch buried under kelp. It's marked with the same spiral pattern as the flute. 3 turns clockwise, 1 counter. Spain's naval archives mention deviation logs for cursed ships. None describe notched bone instruments aiding entry. You blow dust off the hatch ring. It tastes of burnt honey and regret. Below deck, blueprints paper the walls, but these sketches writhe. Hull lines twist into Möbius strips. Mast calculations bloom like fungal spores. A quill floats nearby, nib dripping black salt. Your shadow reaches for it. The flute rolls into your path, blocking contact. Since when do relics parent? Historians still argue whether the Santa Maria's infamous tilt stemmed from design flaws or drunken trigonometry. You lean closer to the blueprints. The central diagram shifts, revealing a ship with no stern, just endless bow. Its signature bleeds. Forgive me etched 12 times in squid ink. A Basque shipwright in 1673 claimed he'd built a self-sinking vessel to spite the crown. They jailed him. His journal's last entry. The sea begged for a worthy grave. You trace the keel spiral. The flute hums a perfect B-flat. Shadows freeze mid-creep. Carpathian shipworms, you note, spotting bored holes in the blueprint margins. Real ones devour oak. They've nibbled equations, leaving paradoxes. Mass equals velocity, regret. The quill stabs suddenly, adding a 13th, forgive me. The deck groans upward, a whale breaching. You grab the flute, play 3 notes. The blueprint flattens, mostly. One corner remains curled like a dead fiddlehead fern. Inside, minuscule glyphs, shipbuilder's marks. No, they're recipe instructions. Take 2 parts midnight tide, fold in a trader's breath. A shadow coughs, spewing brine and something floral. The quirky bit. In 1822, a schooner's figurehead was found stuffed with cinnamon and saffron, provisions for the afterlife. Trade goods. The blueprint's margin doodles suggest otherwise. A chef's hat on an anchor, a mermaid whisking a storm. You pocket the quill. It struggles, a hooked eel. Moonlight slants through rotting planks. Your shadow merges with the spiral blueprint, briefly becoming a third eye. The flute's heat fades. It clicks against your belt. Not a flute, you realize. A bone caliper. Meant to measure what? The hold shudders. You exit as the hatch seals itself. Kelp stitches the edges shut. Above deck, the flute cools into inertness. Ships, bells toll in the distance. 11, 12, 13 strikes. Your shadow licks the caliper. Its tongue sticks. Serves you right, you croon. Dawn won't reach this hulk. You know that now. But the blueprints hum in your mind, a tune for sawing tides. You walk. The dunes part. Somewhere ahead, gulls scream like unpaid critics. Behind, the Luz de la Luna's lantern winks once, not goodbye, but later. Always later. The dunes surrender to cracked cobblestones, each crevice plugged with gull feathers. Your soles crunch through hollow quills. 17th century sailors called these sky nails, once used to seal love letters against Atlantic rains. A white plume stabs your boot like a half-finished sentence. You pluck it. The caliper at your belt twitches, measuring air where the feather's shadow should be. Salt crusts every surface, even your eyelashes. The altar ahead isn't stone but layered despair. Rust flakes, barnacle shells, and a million fractured whispers. Your lungs tighten. Ship chaplains in Cádiz built such shrines during plagues, though historians still argue whether they sought divine mercy or just quieter deaths. A wrist-thick rope dangles above the altar, its frayed ends splayed like praying hands. Touch it, and the taste of boiled lemons floods your mouth. Some Tudor ships hung lemons in the rigging to ward off curses. This rope's darker, stained. The caliper vibrates, its bone arms sketching feverish angles in the salt dust. You kneel. The feather in your hand wilts, becoming a gull's wishbone. Dry, brittle. In 1899, a mutineer's journal described trading gull bones for fair winds. His crew vanished anyway. You snap the bone. No wish comes, just a hollow pop and the altar exhaling brine. 3 feathers spiral upward, spelling a name in semaphore. M-A-R. The rest disintegrate. Helpful, you tell the silence. Your shadow mimics the gesture, its fingers forming different letters. Historians still argue whether phantom crews invented their own nautical codes, or if we've simply forgotten how to read them. Beneath the altar, a rusted box bleeds green. Inside, 17 teeth and a recipe for ginger cake. Ship's surgeons pulled teeth to buy spices in port towns, true fact. The cake instructions: mix with tears, bake until the screaming stops. You pocket a molar. It thrums like the bone flute once did. The caliper clatters to the cobbles, measuring the distance between your shadow and the altar. 63 inches, exactly the length of a Roman desempeda, the tool used to lay out warships. Coincidence? The caliper thinks not. It carves a spiral into the salt. Your shadow copies the motion, slower. Wind rips through the yard, a banshee with poor aim. Feathers blade your cheeks. One embeds in the altar, quill first. Salt crystals bleed purple where it struck. Portuguese navigators wrote of violet storms that stained sails for weeks. You lean closer, inhale bergamot and gunpowder. The caliper slaps your wrist. Don't, night deepens. The altar's rust begins to crawl, forming a thorned crown atop your shadow's head. A joke forms. How many ghosts does it take to, but dies unsaid? You reach for the crown. It melts into a key, a tiny iron thing, teeth like a gull's skeleton. Dawn. Not here. The horizon's a myth. Your pockets sag with relics. A tooth, a key, feathers turned to dust. The caliper hums, a lullaby this time. You hum back, somewhere above. Unseen wings beat in triplets. Historians still argue whether sailors mistook albatross calls for angel songs, or if they knew better. Salt cracks underfoot as you retreat. The altar watches, its silence now a creak, a plea, a half-remembered hymn. You toss the molar onto its surface. It bounces twice, then floats. The caliper approves, its arms finally still. Behind you, something whispers, measure this. You don't look back. The key warms in your palm, a pulse like distant cannon fire. The hold's entrance yawns, a throat of splintered oak. Your shadow splits at the threshold. One shrinks behind your heels. The other strides ahead, blade glinting. First mates on Spanish treasure ships carried 2 knives, one for ropes, one for mutineers. This shadow wields both. Rot greets you, not decay, but preservation. Salted meat from Columbus's era still swings in burlap sarcophagi. Your clinging shadow tugs your sleeve, stay. The knife-bearing one beckons. Naval logs mention deadlights, wooden shutters nailed over portholes during storms. None mention shadows that peel away like tar. The aggressive shadow stops. Its knife points starboard, where a ledger moulders in a rusted cage. You pry it open. Pages stick, each entry a confession. Stole 3 citrus fruits, dreamt of drowning the captain. Penalty: 10 lashes diluted with grog. Pirate codes were shockingly democratic, but this smells like regret, not law. Your timid shadow trembles. The other slashes a hammock. Dust explodes into tiny ships mid-sink. You cough. 17th century sailors believed dust motes were dying stars. These feel vengeful. The caliper leaps from your belt, its arms pinching the air where the ships swirl. Deeper in the hold, a trunk bleeds rust. The brass plaque reads M. Espina. Inside, 8 pairs of left boots. The bold shadow stabs one, goat leather hisses. Ship's cobblers always made mismatched soles to confuse evil spirits. Clever, unless you actually need to run. Your cautious shadow tugs again. Fine, you mutter. We'll go the knife shadow rams its blade into a barrel. Amber liquid oozes, smuggled sherry from Jerez. You dip a finger, tastes like fire and funeral shrouds. Historians still argue whether Spanish galleons stocked wine casks as makeshift life preservers. The timid shadow slinks toward a pile of wax-sealed bottles. Love letters, maybe. Mutiny plans. You reach, the bold shadow kicks them. Glass shatters. A scrap floats up, forgive my silence. The crows have my tongue before dissolving. Shipboard mail was famously unreliable. Most never reached port. Light fractures through a cracked beam. Your 2 shadows merge briefly, then fracture. Dual heartbeats thud in your ears. Tudor surgeons believed every man cast 2 shadows, one loyal, one waiting to betray. The caliper agrees. It measures the gap between them, whirring like a panicked cricket. The bold shadow lunges at a figurehead lashed to the mast. Its knife saws the ropes. The wood groans, splinters flecking the air as teeth. Stop, you snap. Too late, the figurehead crashes down, impaling your timid shadow. It writhes, pinned. Pain shoots up your own leg. The knife shadow turns, blade aimed at your throat. You duck. Its edge nicks a hanging lantern. Flame sputters, dousing the hold in inky whispers. Shipwreck survivors wrote of black light in lower decks, a darkness that chewed their screams. You're breathing it now. The bold shadow grabs your wrist. Forceful, cold, it drags you toward the bilge, a hatch leading deeper. Your free hand gropes the scattered boots. One slides onto your foot. The shadow falters, confused by the mismatched sole. You wrench away. Behind you, the pinned shadow whimpers. Ahead, knife blades gleam in the false dark. The caliper calculates, ticks off options in Morse code against your hip. One word, choose. You glance at the boots, left feet all. Salt crusts your lips. The hatch creaks open on its own. A smell rises, not rot. Vanilla. Spanish shipwrights soaked timber in vanilla oil to calm nervous crews. The knife shadow freezes, sniffs. For a breath, it looks almost human, almost sorry. Then it lunges. You kick the nearest bottle, sherry splashes the shadow's arm. It screams soundless. The liquid ignites, blue fire racing up its form. Flaming shadows were considered good omens in Castilian folklore. This one's just pissed. Run. Stumble. The timid shadow still writhes, impaled but reaching. You yank the figurehead's splintered arm free. The shadow dissolves, pours into your own like smoke. A chill lingers, your left boot now filled with seawater. The bold shadow recovers fire extinguished. It blocks the ladder up. No weapons left, just the caliber. You hurl it. The tool spreads its arms midair. It clamps the shadow's wrist, measurements blazing on the wood. 7, 6 centimeters of malice. 3, 8 of grief. Distracted, the shadow studies the numbers. You vault over a shattered crate. The ladder's missing 3 rungs. Jump. The shadow's knife embeds in the wall beside your ear. Its hilt holds a cameo, a woman's profile. Yours, you climb. The hold's darkness shrinks below, but not before hearing the shadow hiss. Not at you, at the caliber. She chose wrong. Your stolen shadow stirs, a fishhook tug in your ribs. Fresh salt crusts your cheek. Dawn's still a rumor here. The figurehead's face looms, salt-cracked lips parted mid-song. You touch her throat. Grain shifts under your palm, centuries of weather in the wood. Spanish carvers soaked figureheads in mercury to repel shipworms. Didn't help her voice. A wave slaps the hull. Her mouth moves. Your own words spill out. This place reeks of bad decisions. The sea licks them away, greedy. 17th century sailors kissed figureheads for luck. You kiss a knuckle instead. Tastes like tarnish and limes. Her eyes follow you, a judgmental aunt at Sunday Mass. You lean closer. Got any useful secrets? The question isn't yours. It's hers, plucked from your lungs. Experts think figureheads guided ships through unmapped waters. This one's steering you into a migraine. Barnacles crust her shoulders. You chip one free, it bleeds black. A rasping chuckle fills the air. Yours. Historians still argue whether figureheads were holy symbols or just fancy hood ornaments. She's definitely laughing at you. The wind twists. Her wooden braid creaks toward a barrel. Inside, tobacco plugs, a scratched compass, 3 peaches preserved in rum. Offerings. Shipwrights left gifts to soften a figurehead's temper. 1 peach rolls into your hand. Ripe. Impossible. You bite it. Juice runs down your wrist, sweetness cut with gunpowder. The figurehead's pupils dilate. Your voice rasps from her. Hungry ghosts hate fresh fruit. Waves surge. The half-eaten peach becomes a seagull skull. You spit out cartilage. Her hand splinters. A finger points aft. You follow. A hatch groans open. Rusted tools lie arranged on a blanket. Chisels, tar brushes, a maul named Esperanza. Ship's carvers napped here between shifts. Their whetstone still sings when you tap it. The figurehead's gaze burns your neck. What? You snap. Your words echo from her jaws. What? 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 Gulls take up the chorus. A rope slithers overboard, you grab it. Rigging ties itself around her wrists. Tar bubbles between her teeth. Stop. Her mouth shapes your shout. The rope hesitates. Naval contracts listed figureheads as essential crew. Had to be paid in silver. You toss a coin from your pocket. It spins, her eyes track it, catches it midair with a woody click. The rope loosens. She spits the coin. It's fused with her tongue, a silver pustule. You sigh. You're worse than my ex. The joke flops. She rams her forehead against the mast once, twice. A locket drops from her hairline. Inside, a portrait, yours, or close enough. The eyes are greener. The frame's inscribed vase prestata. Borrowed voice. Crewmen whispered that figureheads held a ship's true name. Yours curdles in your throat, ready to leap into her. A wave drenches the deck. Saltwater foams in her mouth. She gags on your unsaid words. You press a palm to her chest. Wormholes pulse like veins. Ship's logs mention wooden women saving crews from storms. This one's drowning in syllables. Her jaw unhinges, a marionette's yawn. You flinch. Don't even think about it. Too late. Your voice tears loose, a stream of confessions. I stole apricots from the market. I let the dogs starve. I lied about the fire. The sea gulps each sin. She sags, sated. You collapse against the rail. Your throat's raw. Tudor law fined sailors for voice theft aboard holy ships, fine print specified, unless stolen by figureheads. The locket's chain tightens around your wrist. Dawn tints the clouds, false gold. The figurehead's face softens. Moss creeps into her cracks, sudsy green. 1 nautical mile east, a bell tolls underwater. She turns toward it. Your voice hums in her throat, a dirge even the waves avoid. You trace her mercury scars. Want to go? Her brow knots. Wind riffles your hair, she nods once. The rigging stirs. It's not a yes. It's an if. The locket pricks your skin, drawing blood salty as the air. You whisper the ship's true name. It's not yours to give, but she's already singing it. The sea coughs up its dead in the hour before dawn. Waves retreating like thieves caught mid-heist. What's left isn't sand. It's bone. 100 keels jut upward, blackened ribs crusted with muscles. Your own collarbone throbs. 17th century ships coated hulls in pig fat and tar to slow rot. It reeks here rancid bacon and betrayal. A rivet clinks at your feet. You crouch, rust flakes off like dried blood. The plaque reads Santa Leonor, 1623. Scholars once thought her lost near Cartagena. Yet here she rots, 8 steps from a faded ice cream stand. Historians still argue whether Spain's doomed armada fell to storms, or to captains who hated the king's beard tax. Barnacles crunch underfoot. You peel one, it pops wetly. Inside, a pearl the color of a bruise. Ship manifests list pearls as ballast. Sailors swallowed them to smuggle treasure. This one's warm, alive. You pocket it. Your shins ache with phantom splinters. The wrecks whisper, not words, sounds. A mast creaks hush. Chains clank lyre. You press a palm to the Santa Leona's ribs. Tar oozes, thick as chapel wax. Workers once sealed hulls with hemp and ox blood. This ship bled something smarter. The ooze traces your lifeline, rewriting it. A crab sidles up, claws clasping a monocle. You snort. Lost your yacht club. It snaps the lens. Glass shards glitter in the muck. Maritime law in 1598 declared crabs unfit for trial, due to sideways morals. The claw jabs your toe. Fair enough. Low tide unzips another secret, a child's shoe, sole studded with nails. Tiny, fierce, you kneel. Salt pricks your eyes, or is that the ghost of chili powder? Shipwrights seasoned Baltic timber with spices to repel rats. Failed. The shoe's owner dances in your periphery, a blur of patched skirts. Sand shifts. A mast collapses slow as a sigh. The wreckage parts, there glistening in the rot. A spinal column of ship planks fused with vertebrae. Real ones. Whale, human. The debate fries your nerves. Venetian merchants recycled saintly relics into hull caulking, holiness as waterproofing. Your spine hums in solidarity. Your stolen pearl throbs. You spit it into your palm, it vibrates. A face swirls in its purple heart. Yours, but older, sad. The Santa Leonor creaks. She chose the keel. A nursery rhyme surfaces. Mama sails where ribs meet sky. Your molars buzz. The crab tugs your cuff, leads you to a crack in the Santa Leona's belly. Inside, dollhouse furniture. A table set for 13, miniature cutlery tarnished by centuries. Ship's carpenters built toys during calm seas, sold them in port for beer money. A teacup chimes filled not with tea, but mercury. Wind slaps your neck. You turn. The figurehead stands ankle deep in surf, her wooden skin bubbling with brine blisters. She points at your chest. Your ribs creak. Sailors believed low tide revealed ocean's grudges. Yours curdle into a truth. You've anchored here before. The pearl shrieks. You drop it, it wriggles into the sand. Gone. The dollhouse table fractures. 13 pewter rats scamper out, each wearing a sailor's cap. One pauses, tips its hat. Dutch smugglers trained rats to steal silverware. They unionized in 1611. Demanded crumbs. Your boots fill with seawater, or is it marrow? The Santa Leona's ribs sag. Tar drips into a puddle shaped like your homeland. Barcelona, Buenos Aires. The map bleeds. You're ankle deep in the question now. The figurehead's laughter follows you, crusted with gull shit and resignation. Dawn pinks the horizon. The tide slinks back. Bone by bone, the sea reclaims its graveyard. Only the shoe remains, toe pointing north. Or is it south? Compasses lie here, your ribs quiet. The pearl's voice lingers, though, a hum in your fillings. Next tide, it seems to sing. Next tide, the drum finds you first, 3 sharp raps too long. Your knees buckle. 17th century bosuns pounded cadence to coordinate ship repairs. This rhythm's different. Emergency. A mutiny beat. The tide pool around your boots ripples in perfect time. A shadow moves beneath the waterlogged planks, something dragging chains. You smell limes. British Navy ships carried citrus to fight scurvy. This reeks fermented. Sailors brewed illicit lime beer in the bilge. The chains clank faster. Your pulse matches them, a trapped bird in your throat. The dock sheds its skin. Rotting wood peels back, revealing a drumhead stretched with human skin. Historians still argue whether Admiralty-sanctioned drums used tanners' leftovers or volunteers, the hides tattooed, a mermaid wrestling an octopus. You've seen this ink before on your uncle's bicep. His fishing boat vanished in '92. A mallet floats toward you. Driftwood handle. Whalebone head. It fits your palm too perfectly. Ship's carpenters carved tools to fit phantom hands. The drum hums. Strike here, it seems to say. Strike now. First blow, the air cracks like a mainsail splitting. Second, your teeth rattle. Third, all gulls fall silent mid-squawk. Chains snap beneath the dock. The freed thing rises, a figure woven from kelp and ship's rope. It bows. 12 eels writhe where its face should be. Boatswain McGrath, you murmur, the eels still. During the 80 Years' War, a boatswain named McGrath supposedly cursed the Spanish with a drum made from his drowned crew's skin. His logbook ended mid-sentence. If found, please. The kelp man extends a hand. Barnacle teeth line its palm. The drumstick twitches. You strike again, 2 slow, mournful thuds. The dock shudders. 37 rusted nails rise, suspended like rain frozen mid-fall. 17th century Spanish nails contained smuggled silver. These hum with it. The kelp man plucks one, drags it across its throat. A joke, threat. Your grandma used to say Dutch sailors laughed through executions. Another beat, the Santa Leona's ribs creak into alignment. Tar bleeds upward, defying gravity. Scholars once mocked the reverse weeping described in mad captains' journals. The kelp man moans, a sound felt more than heard. Your fillings ache, 3 quick taps. Your hand moves alone now. The drumhead warms, blisters form on your fingers. No pain. 8th century monks used drum blisters to predict storms. Yours spell a word, atropame. Catch me. The kelp man lunges. You sidestep, its eels graze your neck. Cold, so cold. It hisses vinegar and regret. Pirate hunters doused prisoners in vinegar to cure rebellion. The drumstick slips, you fumble it. Catch midair. The kelp man freezes. Nods approval. 1 final strike. The drumhead splits. A sigh escapes. The nails clatter down. Silver pools around your boots. The kelp man unravels, eels diving into cracks between worlds. Boatswain McGrath's drum dissolves into sea foam. Your blisters fade. Dawn's first light hits the dock. The mallet's gone. Only a tunic and lid remains, its edges folded into a tiny drum. You pocket it. Somewhere beneath your ribs, 3 beats answer. Too slow. Your boots stick to the dock. Thick black resin oozes between planks. 17th century. British ships slathered tar like this to seal hulls, but never warm enough to melt human skin. Ahead, a forest of men, or what's left of them. Tar-coated faces jut from the muck, mouths stretched mid-curse, mid-laugh, one whistling a jaunty tune. Your palms tingle, that leftover warmth from the boatswain's drum still pulsing. You crouch by the whistler. His tar mustache twitches. Pirates often wore waxed facial hair to repel lice. This glistens different, sweeter. 19th century rumors claimed sailors spiked tar with beeswax to keep it pliable during Arctic voyages. His eyelid cracks open, amber light spills out. A moth escapes, wings trailing tar strands. The heat in your hands sharpens, fingertips glowing like match heads. Historians still argue whether tarred sailors were punishments or accidents. You reach for the whistler, hesitate. To your left, a woman's hand bursts through the resin, charcoal fingers clutching a dice cup. Snake eyes stare up. A loaded die, hollowed and filled with mercury. You've heard galleon deckhands weighted dice to fleece nobles. Her tarred throat gurgles. 1876. Your glowing palm hovers. Choose wrong, choose right, no way to tell. The whistler's tar softens. His lips part. Maria's second letter lies. You recoil. Maria, the name from that ledger. The one about ships. What was it? Lost to tempests. The resin around his neck bubbles. Fumes burn your eyes. 16th century Spanish tar kettles sometimes exploded, killing entire work crews in gooey avalanches. The dice woman's hand grabs your ankle. Tar creeps up your calf, cold and possessive. Your palms flare, the heat spreads. Golden cracks split the tar around her wrist. She wails, a sound like a sinking ship's timbers. Her arm crumbles to ash. The dice rolls free, mercury pooling around your boot. The whistler chuckles. Clever girl, he rasps. But her wager stands. Your left palm cools, now only the right glows. You press it to his chest. Tar vaporizes, revealing a linen shirt riddled with bullet holes. 39, by your count. British naval logs mention a mutineer executed with 40 musket loads. They missed one. He inhales, a wet, crackling breath. Never trust, he wheezes. A compass that points, his head lolls. The light in his eyes dims. Behind you, a wet snap. Another tar figure breaks free, this one missing arms. It lurches toward the water. The tide licks its feet, turns the tar white. 17th century sailors called this salts, mercy, the sea stripping resin from drowned men. Your right hand's glow fades. One chance left. The dice cup quivers. Mercury forms a word. Azucar. Sugar. Havana's 1805. Sugar riots saw dockworkers bury molasses barrels in tar pits to hide them from tacksmen. The cup's owner, still half-submerged, nods urgently. Her remaining eye pleads. You crouch. Touch her tarred forehead. Heat surges. The resin shrieks as it splits. She gasps, reeking of rum and burnt almonds. Cyanide-laced alcohol killed more Spanish sailors than enemy fire. She clutches your collar. The ship eats itself, she croaks. Feed it silver or your bones. Your palm sputters out. Her body stiffens, resin creeping back over her chin. She forces out one last phrase. La Niña, duum. The tar seals her lips. Dawn bleeds through mist. The whistlers crumbled. The armless figure's gone. Only the dice remains, mercury solidifying into a tiny anchor. You pocket it. Somewhere beneath the tar pits, something large shifts, patient, hungry. Your boots squelch as you back away toward the unmade ships, toward the work yet undone. Wind carves through your soaked clothes. The sky's been vomiting rain since 1887. You clutch the mercury anchor in your pocket. Its edges bite like frozen teeth. Ahead, a ship fused to the dock by lightning scars. Her name's São João Baptista, but the storm ripped away the J. Just ow now, Portuguese for howl. Fitting. Raindrops hang mid-fall around the mainmast, suspended like flawed diamonds. Naval logs from the 1893 Volta du Mar expedition describe still storms where water defied gravity. No one believed them. You swipe a droplet, it shatters silently. Your fingers tingle that leftover charge from the tar pits. Thunder growls from the crow's nest, a sound felt in molars, not ears. You climb, rungs stink of ozone and wet parrot. 17th century sailors swore lightning tasted like burnt almonds. Your tongue tests the air metallic bitter. Close enough. The nest holds bones. Human, avian, both may be fused by countless strikes. A brass spyglass lies in the ribcage, its lens cracked like a spider web. You peer through. The storm crystallizes, each raindrop a prism showing Madrid. No, Mexico City's Zocalo, 1810. A man in a bicorn hat shouts Viva la Virgin. As lightning forks behind him, historians still argue whether Hidalgo's revolt began during a hurricane or mere drizzle. The vision snaps your back in the nest, hair standing vertical. The mast thrums a subsonic dirge. You press your palm to the wood, blisters form instantly. British shipwrights once layered whale oil between planks to repel lightning. Didn't work. Neither did nailing up horseshoes. You spot 3 rusted ones melted into the beams. Something moves in the rigging, not rats too angular, not birds too silent. Lightning forks. You catch a flash of translucent fingers braiding ropes. Dutch sailors called them donderstemmers, thunder tamers. Said they stitched clouds together during squalls. One turns, its face a shifting mosaic of shipwreck portraits. The Mary Celeste, the Flying Dutchman, Titanic smokestacks. You blink, they're gone. The ship lurches, or maybe the world does. You slide down the mast, splinters tattooing your palms. The decks become a chandelier, every puddle hoisting raindrops upward. They quiver, a reverse deluge. Your boots leave no prints. A hatch yawns open, stairs spiral into blackness. The air smells of wet gunpowder, Portuguese carracks, stored matches in lead-lined barrels. But humidity always won. Your mercury anchor glows, an improvised lantern. Shadows recoil. Below decks, a gallery of frozen sailors. Ice isn't frost, it's solidified lightning. Their eyes follow you. One holds a pipe, smokes suspended mid-curling. Another's dice show perpetually tumbling sevens. A boy clutches a soggy letter. The ink reads Maria before dissolving. You shiver. Your breath doesn't fog. The keel hums. You press your ear to it, a chorus of overlapping voices. Lubbers whole, ballast shift, reef the topsail, a woman's scream, a cannon's roar. Then, distinct, La Niña Duum, the phrase from the tar pits. The ship groans, ice cracks, lightning erupts through the hull, no flash, just sound. A pressure wave hurls you against a barrel. It splits, revealing a mummified parrot. Its beak opens, 99 years, 99 tears. Victorian sailors taught parrots morbid rhymes to pass time. This one's feathers smell of sulfur. The ice sailors stir. Not bodies, negative space cut from the storm itself. They reach, their fingers leave electric afterimages. You bolt upstairs. Rain pelts your face, now falling normally. Or is it rising? The mercury anchor melts. Silver trails up your arm like veins. Feed it silver, the tar woman warned. Too late. Lightning strikes your hand. Pain blooms, not burning, but unmaking. Your skeleton glows through skin. The ship's name repairs itself, Sao Joe Baptista, gleaming fresh. Thunder shouts, stay. You leap overboard and land in calm water. The storm rages 10 feet above, contained like a snow globe. Spanish divers in 1595 reported sealing tempests near Cuba. Most were executed for drunken lies. You sink. Silver bleeds from your hand, taints the sea. Shapes emerge below. Algae-coated cannons, a bone compass, Maria's ledger drifting open. The storm's reflection ripples across pages, words rewritten by lightning. Your lungs burn. You kick toward the surface, but the storm reaches down. A liquid hand drags you deeper. The ledger awaits. Somewhere above, thunder counts to 99. Your lungs scream as the liquid fist drags you deeper. The storm's muffled growl fades above. Silver threads unravel from your arm. They twist into baythooks, snagging debris. A musket ball, a child's shoe, a lockbox crusted with coral. Something glints below, a tarnished tiara caught in a cannon's mouth. You reach, and 15 pairs of eyes blink open. Rats, not swimming, fused, tails knotted into a single braid, bodies interlocked like puzzle pieces. Their king drags the crown on a chain of fish vertebrae, its gems long gone. But the gold still holds a sickly glow. You've heard tales from Lübeck's church vaults, rat kings documented since 1564, pests tangled by panic or design. This one hisses through needle teeth. Baltic sailors once carried smaller ones as good luck charms. You're not feeling lucky. The crown pulses, or maybe your drowning brain throbs. The king scrambles up a ship's ribcage, claws clicking Morse code against bone. Tap, tap, pause. Tap, hold, tap. The lockbox shudders in your grip. 17th century Spanish captains used rat kings to guard treasure, wicked things to keep wickeder things contained. The tiara rises, levitating toward you. Avoid eye contact. Portuguese nobles believed crowns magnify a wearer's sins. The heavier the gold, the louder the screams in hell. This one hums La Niña Duum, off-key. One rat detaches, its tail still woven into the knot. It scurries up your leg. bites your thumb. Blood clouds the water. The crown's glow intensifies, reflected in 100 rodent eyes. Historians still argue whether rat kings form by accident or if something ties them on purpose. The lockbox pops open. A shriveled pear rolls out. Ship's logs mention a mirth fruit aboard the Mater de Deus, allegedly cured scurvy, but caused nightmares. You grab it. The rat king freezes, tiara mid-spin. Offer the pear. They swarm, gnawing the fruit to pulp in seconds. The braid unravels, rats scatter into portholes. The crown clatters at your feet. Take it. The voice isn't yours. It's the ship, every worm-eaten plank vibrating. You lift the tiara. Thousands of faces flash inside the gold. Conquistadors, deckhands, a girl stitching sails. Their mouths move in unison. Wear it. Hide it. Break it. The storm's hand tightens around your ankle. Above, lightning etches 99 across the surface. Below, the lockbox floats open, emptied. You jam the crown onto the coral. Strike it with the musket ball. Gold dents, cracks, shatters. The ocean inhales. Silver filaments snap back into your arm, burning. The rat's braid disintegrates. A sigh unravels into bubbles. The storm's grip slips. As you kick upward, the tiara's pieces orbit your head, a halo of fractured monarchs. The last shard drifts past, whispering, "You'll bow eventually." Sunlight stabs the water. You breach, gasping, into the storm's underbelly. Rain hammers your face. The São João Baptista looms her masts, now crowned with a single rusted tiara. Thunder laughs. A wet nose brushes your hand. The Rat King's sole survivor perches on a floating barrel, gnawing the mirth fruit's core. It nods once before diving. You swear you hear the skitter of claws all the way down. Rain slides off your face, each droplet carrying the tinny aftertaste of lightning. The São João Baptista creaks her timbers, flexing like the ribs of a starving giant. Moonlight claws through the clouds. It pins your shadow to the keel. You shiver. 16th century shipwrights called this lunar caulking, using tides and moon phases to align hull planks. It never involved becoming the caulk. Tools materialize around you. A chisel bobs like a cork. Hammer hovering with restless urgency. Nails spiral downward, their rust bleeding into the waves. You grab the chisel. It thrums, a carpenter's phantom grip overlapping yours. The keel groans as you carve. Wood chips float upward, each carving itself into a moth. They flutter toward the tiara-crowned mast, only to disintegrate against its tarnished gold. Cooperative bunch, you mutter. The hammer slams your thumb on purpose. 17th century sailors buried coins under masts for luck. Dutch ones preferred silver Leeuwendalders, minted with lions. This ship demands blood instead. Your throbbing thumbprint stains the timber, swirls into a map of the Azores. Barnacles crunch under your grip as you haul yourself along the hull. A face emerges beneath your chisel, wide-eyed, lips parted mid-song. Ship figureheads weren't just decoration. They allegedly calmed sea spirits. Historians still argue whether Mediterranean carvers modeled them after lovers or captured mermaids. This one's cheeks hollow as you work, starved for a name. The tide shifts. Salt water stings the fresh cuts in the wood. The ship drinks them greedily. Your arms ache. Spanish galleons used robble negro for beams denser than grief, tougher than oak. This timber bleeds, sap the color of squid ink. It clings to your wrists, semi-sentient tar whispering faster, faster. A nail floats past, you seize it. The hammer strikes before you're ready. Iron pierces timber and your palm. Blood beads. The shipyard's low tide exposed a ribcage of wrecked vessels. But this, absolute betrayal. We're supposed to be partners here, you hiss. The hammer hesitates, then pats your shoulder. Apology. Mockery. Hard to tell. Midnight bleeds into indigo. You sculpt rigging from strands of moonlight. They squirm like eels until knotted. Rats skitter across the yard, normal ones, gloriously unknotted. They haul rope fibers in their teeth. One pauses, dropping a dried sardine at your feet. Payment. Threat. You pocket it. 3 planks snap into place, their edges melting together. The hull's gashes close with wet sighs. You lean back, and the chisel keeps moving. It carves without you, etching symbols into the bow. Recognize one. The triple crescent of Cádiz, storm chaser's mark. The hammer taps your skull, a reminder. Stay awake. A wave slaps the hull, it coughs up a soggy ledger. Pages flip themselves. Faint ink lists supplies. 42 barrels of salt pork, 8 casks of quince jelly, 1 unnameable thing in the brig. Standard manifest, except for the last entry. Crew, 200 souls. Cargo, 200 souls. Destination, unfinished. The moon retreats. Dawn's first rays needle the horizon gold, stitching the clouds. Tools clatter down, spent. The figurehead's song bursts forth, wordless and raw. Timbers hum along. You slump against the mast, sardine fossil jabbing your thigh. Across the bay, shadows lengthen into docks. The Baptista floats higher now, resurrected inch by splintered inch. Wind riffles through phantom rigging. Somewhere below decks, a rat king's lone air gnaws on yesterday's sorrows. You press your ear to the figurehead's newly carved lips. They whisper a single word drowned, but clear. Again, the chisel leaps back into your blistered hand. The chisel's edge bites deep. A splintered scream rips through the kelp-choked air. You reel back as the figurehead shatters, not wood, but coral. From the wreckage, she rises, seaweed-strangled hair clinging to shoulders barnacled with oyster pearls. Her eyes snap open, pupils shaped like baler shells. You built this, she hisses, voice a chorus of drowning sailors. Now unbuild it. Wave foam laps at your ankles, ancient instinct says kneel. You resist. 16th century Spanish nuns crafted seaweed tonics for scurvy, drinking vials of crushed mollusks and desperation. This creature smells of that exact elixir, rotting iodine and hope. Her finger joints like knotted rigging, stabs toward the Baptista. Flawed from keel to crow's nest, she spits. Your nails mirror the compass rose, but one point's bent. You glance at your hands. Sure enough, rusty crescents form north, south, east, and a jagged gash where west should be. That's just hangnail, you protest. The ship groans beneath you, timbers splintering in agreement with her. She drifts closer, strands of her hair snagging your wrists. Cold seeps into bone. They lied about the triple crescent, she whispers. Cádiz shipwrights stole the symbol from Phoenician star charts, swapped true north for a lover's grave. A valid critique if you designed the damn thing. Historians still argue whether Phoenicians reached these waters first. They're ghost ships lured by tin myths. Her breath frosts your cheek. It carries the tang of a 1598 Basque whaling song. 8 generations of my blood fed this yard, she says. Now yours will finish the feast. The sardine fossil in your pocket throbs, suddenly warm. You fling it at her feet. The creature freezes, eyes tracking the fish like a cat. An offering, she purrs. A snack. She scoops it up, crushing the fish into golden dust. It trickles through her fingers, forming a tiny hourglass in the sand. Clever, she admits, but Pedro, the navigator, tried time bargains too. His skeletons wedged in the Rio Tinto estuary, still clutching a stopped sundial. The hammer tugs your sleeve, urging you toward the ship. You shake it off. Unbilled how, you demand. Am I supposed to gnaw through the hull like that self-eating galleon? Her laughter crackles, a dying campfire's final spark. Start with the figurehead. Its face is yours. You blink, stumble to the bow. The newly carved maiden does have your jawline, if you'd been starving and terrified. That's inspired, you lie. Ship figureheads often depicted saints or monarchs. Queen Juana the Mad was a popular choice, despite her nickname. This feels personal. She materializes beside you, a human-shaped tide pool. Every ship holds its maker's flaws, she murmurs. Yours festers here. Her hand plunges into the figurehead's chest, rummaging. It comes out clutching a tarnished Maravdi coin, minted with your birth year. Coins under the mast, you breathe. Clever girl. The Maravdi blackens in her palm, Spain's Habsburg crest melting into a coiled serpent. Pull out the nails. Reverse the keel. Unwrite the manifest. A seagull's cry slices the air, or is it the Rat King's air? The hammer headbutts your ribs, impatient. You press the chisel to the figurehead's brow. It resists, then softens like wet clay. Wait, the sea woman says. First, a gift. She spits into the waves, the water parts, revealing a stone chest. Inside, a ship model, the Baptista in miniature, exquisitely detailed. And inside that, a tinier ship. Matryoshka galleons all the way down. Historians will later call this the Tetrakyclo paradox. A nesting boat found off Crete in 1932, provenance unknown. You keep it, you say. As you wish. She dissolves into mist, her final words clinging to your skin. Your thumb bleeds northward. You glance down. A red rivulet snakes toward the Baptista, a liquid compass. The hammer, chastened, offers its handle. One nail trembles loose overhead, you catch it. Salt crusts your tongue. Spanish shipwrights believed swallowing a nail ensured fair winds. You pocket it instead. The figurehead's wooden pupils follow you judging. You carve your initials beside hers. The chisel slips, gouging a gash across both names. Twin wounds weep sap and blood. Somewhere beyond the cove, dawn licks the horizon. But here, the moon clings like a drunkard. Your shadow stretches seaward longer than physics allows. The Baptista's sails flutter with your breath. Fine, you tell the ship, let's get divorced. The first plank comes free with a sob yours or the timbers. Hard to tell. The timbers groan as you yank the ninth nail, each pull weaker than the last. Your palms burn with phantom splinters, though the wood hasn't pierced skin yet. 17th century ships used elblag oak for hulls. Trees whispered to hold sailors' final breaths. This wood feels different, it breathes back. A root snakes around your ankle warm as living flesh. You kick. It tightens. Shipwrights once caulked seams with goat hair and tar, but these planks ooze something darker. Molted crab shells crunch underfoot as you stagger, crafty little recyclers, crabs. Their old armor litters the yard like discarded mail. The Baptista's ribs creak inward, a skeletal hug. You brace against the mast, only to feel it pulse. Historians still argue whether Spanish galleons carried ghost nails, spares left undriven to confuse vengeful spirits. This one thrums against your spine, alive with regrets. Let go already, you mutter. The shipyard answers by stitching your shadow to the dock with barnacle threads. Your knees hit rot-soft planks, Portugal's age of exploration, mapped in fungi patterns beneath you. A fractured seashell embeds in your palm, its spiral mirroring the wound on your thumb. Twin compasses, twin betrayals. The roots climb higher, knotting around your waist. They smell of low tides, wet secrets, and strangely, burnt caramel. Scholars never mention this part, how surrender tastes, sweet before it suffocates. Your elbows fuse to the ship's ribs. The hammer slips from your grip, its handle already sprouting brackish lichen. Above, seagulls wheel like vultures waiting for a punchline. One swoops, snatching the sardine fossil from your pocket. Thief, you croak. It drops the fossil into the sea, a tiny splash. The water hisses. Something down there laughs in bubbles. Your chin dips, forehead now fused to a half-carved figurehead's base. Its wooden lips graze your scalp. Sleep, it hums tone identical to your mother's lullabies. You'd almost obey, until a splintered fingernail jabs your cheek. Not today, you slur. The roots constrict, ribs creaking. Shipyards once staged fake funerals for new vessels, coffins buried under keels to cheat the sea gods. This feels less theatrical. Salt crystallizes on your eyelids, blurring the moon into a veiled lantern. A sound tears loose from your throat, part scream, part seabird's cry. The timbers drink it greedily. Your left hand pries free, fingernails tearing, and slaps a rusted cleat. The iron sears your skin, but the roots recoil. Cute trick, you gasp. Phoenician traders used heated nails to break monsoon curses, or so drunken archaeologists claim. The cleat glows dull red, its heat spreading through the planks. The shipyard shudders, a spooked stallion. You press the advantage, sliding sideways along the mast. Sap bleeds from fresh cracks. It coats your tongue, honeyed pine, with a hint of blood. An 1803 text describes ship's tears as bad luck, but you swallow anyway. Thirst wins. The roots return, splitting into fibrous tendrils. They plunge into your sleeves, your boot tops, the space between collarbones. No escaping now. Your heartbeat sinks with the tides retreat slower, slower. Dawn's first light claws at the cove, too thin to help. The gulls fall silent, rigging swings empty, until shadows condense into ropes. They coil around your throat, gentle as a lover's clasp. Your last thought tastes of irony. Vinland map forgers got the coastlines wrong, but the despair, authentic. The roots pierce your soul's needle sharp. You arch, mouth open in a silent oath. Anchored. The Baptista's sails bloom from your shoulders, canvas stretching like scar tissue. Salt crusts your lashes shut. The shipyard sighs content. Somewhere beyond the yard, a woman hums. The tune's familiar, 3 notes up, 2 down. Your mother's voice, or the sea's, doesn't matter now. Timber veins pump cold sap through your limbs. Your final breath rasps through the figurehead's mouth, carrying a vow the waves will keep. Next tide, the shipyard whispers. Next tide, you agree. But the moon's already tugging your new roots deep, deeper into the silt, where all cast-off things retire. Your lungs ache for air that doesn't taste of brine, but breathing's optional now. Salt cracks your lips as the false dawn bleeds gold across the bay. 18th century naval logs mention false dawns, sunlight tricking crews into lowering their guard moments before squalls hit. This morning wears its lies prettier, gilding the Baptista's ribs where they pierce your shoulders. The roots in your legs twitch, splintering deeper into the dock. You're grafted here, half person, half post. A heron lands on your outstretched arm, mistaking you for driftwood. Its beak prods your petrified fingers. Tough luck, you rasp. The bird startles, winging toward the vanishing ships. Each vessel fades like sugar and tea, their masts dissolving first. The Maria lingers longest, or maybe you imagine it. Historians still argue whether the Armada's downfall came from poor ship design or sailors' refusal to jettison saint statues weighing down holds. Either way, you're the cargo now. Barnacles crust your eyelids, each blink a scritch of shells. Cold spreads through your chest, timber replacing tissue. A lobster sidles over your boot, antennae brushing the root fused to your ankle. You'd scream if your throat still worked. A 1598 sailor's journal claimed barnacle geese hatched from driftwood, a belief so stubborn. Some captains banned timber baths. This crustacean examines you like kin. The horizon thickens, dawn congealing into something solid. It's not daylight, it's amber. Golden resin oozes from the sky, dripping onto the shipyard. Where it hits, wood softens. A moan ripples through the dock, yours, the Baptista's. A droplet lands on your wrist, warming the bark skin there. For one brutal moment, you feel human again. More, you try to beg. No voice, just a creak. The resin hardens, trapping your arm mid-reach. Shipbuilders once sealed hulls with pine pitch and beeswax, but this substance glimmers with malice. It drowns the yard, encasing splintered beams, forgotten tools, your own stubborn feet. Only the tide resists, licking at the amber's edges. Seawater pools around your knees, a cold reprieve. Miniature whirlpools spin where your toes used to be. You count them, 17. The 18th spins counterclockwise. A crab emerges from it, clutching a sardine skeleton. That's mine, you think, and the crab pauses. It drops the bones at your root feet, a meager offering. 4 gulls land on the amber sheet, tapping it like iced-over ponds. Their beaks chip away resin. Hope flares until they peck your forearm. Ow, you mouth silently. They're not rescuing you, they're prospecting. One tears off a bark strip, flying off with your epidermis as nesting material. The sun proper rises, buttery and indifferent. Light refracts through amber, casting honeyed prison bars across the bay. 2 fishermen row into view, their hull scraping the petrified waves. You strain to shout soundlessly. They've come for the crabs, the stillness, the myth of easy prey. One man stands pointing at your shape. Recognition. No, he's gesturing to lobster traps. His oar jabs through the amber, shattering a section. The resin splinters, razor shards embedding in your thigh. No blood, just sap. The fisher reels in a trap packed with crabs. Their claws click Morse code against the wood. Let us go, and we'll free you. The fisherman dumps the catch into a bucket, drowning their plea. His boat turns shoreward, taking the last flicker of hope with him. The resin heals itself, flowing to mend the breach. It inches up your neck, warm and cloying. Your jaw sets, or tries to. Amber invades your mouth, teeth grinding against the sweet siege. One thought blazes, Vinland map aside. Did Leif Erikson feel this trapped, charting Greenland's inlets? The resin fills your nostrils. Vision tunnels. But the tide's still out, and low water reveals secrets. Beneath the amber sheet, the crab's sardine bones glow faintly. Phosphorescence. Witchcraft. Doesn't matter. You focus on that light pouring, every demand left in your marrow toward it. The bones shatter each fragment, bursting into blue flame. Fire races through cracks in the amber vodka bright. Heat sears your bark skin, but also softens the resin. You lurch forward, splitting the shell. Rotting wood groans, or is that your spine? One arm breaks free, striped with sap and blisters. You claw at the amber, encasing your legs, fingertips shredding. The crab watches, prisoner and jailer both. When you finally stagger upright, dawn's true light hits. The ships are gone, the dock's just a dock barnacled, salt-corroded, ordinary. Your clothes hang in tatters, skin crisscrossed with splinter marks. No roots, No baptista. No resin, except for one chip wedged under your thumbnail. You scratch it free, tossing it into the waves. The water hisses, forming a single word. Soon. You turn inland, barefoot on gravel, each step proof you're still flesh. The fishermen wave as you pass. You don't wave back. Salt crusts your cheeks, not all of it from the sea. Behind you, the tide returns hungrier than before. The gravel bites your soles, each step a grounding sting. Sunlight warms your raw shoulders, ordinary light, no longer greedy amber. Fishermen's voices drift, muffled and mundane, as they mend nets further down the shore. You expected whispers, but the world insists on normalcy. Breath comes easier now, no salt glue in your lungs. Your hands tremble not from roots, but exhaustion. A child's laugh rings out, someone skipping stones where the dock meets the sea. You count their ripples, 6, 7, 8. The numbers anchor you. The chip under your nail is gone, yet your palm still feels its phantom weight. You flex your fingers, watching skin crease and smooth. Real skin. Tide pools shimmer, innocent again. No sardine bones, no blue fire. A crab scuttles past, identical to the one before, or another entirely. It doesn't meet your gaze. Shadows lengthen, stretching toward the inland path. Your throat aches to ask the fishermen what they saw, if resin glinted in their buckets, if their crabs murmured pleas, but their backs stay turned a kindness, perhaps. Damp sand clings to your feet, cool and forgiving. You kneel, let the waves kiss your shredded fingertips. The water tastes of salt and something faintly sweet. Could be memory, could be poison. You spit anyway. Moonrise finds you at the edge of the pines, the bay, now a dark murmur behind. Your tattered clothes snag on branches, but no roots hold you. Wind carries the tide's rhythm softer now, almost apologetic. Almost. You lie on moss, its green scent masking the brine still in your hair. Stars blur overhead, or maybe your eyes water. Sleep comes like a dropped anchor, swift and heavy. Somewhere below, deep where soil meets bedrock, the dock's wooden veins hum. Waiting, patient as tide lines, patient as crabs counting days until the next low tide. Your last thought before darkness. Forests too can be shipyards. Given time fades into the whisper of leaves. Far off, the sea exhales. Soon,